All right, everybody, we are back, and hopefully you're still here.
07.
All right, Fist, thank you. I see you say you hear us now.
Yeah.
That was spooky, guys. Sorry about that, but thank you for hanging in there with us. Yes, hey.
Go XLR 101, Griff.
Toys Are Me. I like that name. That's so cool.
Toys, what's up?
I like that
Toys
name.
Are Me. Yep, I know Toys. He's way back from Bar Citizen Atlanta's, and
Oh, okay.
Toys has been around for a while. He's been one of the elite style PvPers.
Oh.
What is that? What is that Squadron Toys? Type it in. Renegade. Yeah.
Oh,
he's
Renegade
part of
Squadron.
Renegade.
Okay, Renegade Squadron.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Lefty, good to see Lefty here. That's awesome.
Hey, Lefty.
And Lusteraw, thank you for the follow. You guys, thank you so much. And by the way, before we even get started, let's say we want to tell you guys thank you so much for hanging out with us last week for our anniversary. It was our 1 year 50th episode, all tied in together. We had 80%, 90% of the crew here, and we had a blast last week. Toys, thank you for the follow as well. And we
Toys.
just really want to tell you guys we appreciate you guys.
Thank you, my friend.
And your continued support with the group. So I just want to say that before we go any further. As you guys know, today's show is on logistics, and we're going to be covering a lot of stuff in relation to this. It's one of those words that you don't hear people talk about too much. Some of the gamers have talked about logistics in Star Citizen and what logistics is going to mean. So we're going to be doing a little bit of theory crafting because, as you guys know, a lot of elements aren't in the game yet that would allow us to start really seriously thinking about logistics. But we are going to do a little bit of kind of play around here a little bit and talk about it. And of course, we want you guys to put your 2 cents in chat, because we're going to be paying attention to what you guys have to say too, not just what we're talking about as well. So just giving you the heads up on that right now. But before we get there, I didn't get to introducing everybody because I was introducing Kimmy. So I'm going to say hi again because you guys didn't hear Kimmy say hi earlier. So Kimmy, say hey.
Oh, citizens, what's up? Everyone chat, what's going on? Glad to be here. Welcome.
Awesome.
Let's go.
Let's
rock and roll. Let's get this in, man.
All right. And before we get it in, we got to introduce our other guy, Kelosal. Kelosal.
Hey, good evening, guys. Welcome to Soul Citizens. I also want to give a shout out to everybody, including Lefty and Test Squadron,
Yes.
Squadron. Good to see the Oregon in the play, but it's good to see you guys.
I'm not daddy.
Absolution. Yeah, absolutely, Lefty. It's good to see you here again. And yeah, Dom Not
Admiral.
Daddy, I'm not going to even touch that name, but that is an interesting name, okay? But thank you for stopping by with us as well. And thank you for the follow. We really appreciate that. Before we get any further, I do want to cover a couple things that have just taken place this week. As you guys know, let's see, we had this sale pop up. And I guess I want to kind of toss this out to both Kimmy and to Kelosal. Did you guys take advantage of the Fortuna? The big, St. Patrick's Day / Stella Fortuna festival this week. Kimmy, did they get you? Did they get you, or was your willpower there? Did the wallet stay deep inside that? Well, I was going to say, did your wife have the wallet? But did it stay deep in the closet, or did you end up pulling it out? What happened?
Okay. I'm going to say, Fist. I know you hate the green, but I had to get the green paint job. And yes, Stella Fortuna, the celebration of the terraforming of Mars, and when you got to be bold about your claim on love and opportunity. So yes, Stella Fortuna. I made that claim on the paint jobs for my MSR runner.
Okay.
Star runner.
Nice. Okay. Kelosal, what about you? Did you bite? Did you hold out? What did you do this year?
Yes, I unfortunately had to participate in the frivolity of Star Citizens' efforts of getting us to find a way to, patch up that hole in that pocket, or to not find a way to patch up a hole in the pocket. So yes, I did participate in that. I did purchase a couple of liveries and.
He's not telling you everything, Griff. He's not telling you everything.
Well,
I sent the email link to him, and 2 minutes later, 2 minutes later, oh yeah, I got it. And he showed me the picture he purchased. I said, what?
Well, let me ask you guys this. Is this the first time that you bought something for Fortuna, or had you bought any of the previous years for the items that they had? Because this is the first time I have bought from them. I've usually have put off all the other ones, but this is the first time I bought. I did buy the MT, the Cyclone MT, and I did buy the skin. Like Kimmy, I bought the skin for the ship. I was actually vacillating about buying the MSR. But then I kind of went back to my rule, which you guys have heard me say before. If it's less than $300, I don't own it. And so that I decided not to do that. But by the way, if you are interested and want an MSR and you're interested in the MT, I think the sale difference is $50, $50 or $55 if you do the deal that they have right now for the package. Because right now the Fortuna sells for $281, if I'm not mistaken, and the buggy is $65. That's a war bond. So you will save almost $50 if you decide to get that package, and you'll get the MSR with LTI. Even though it's a subscriber of the month ship, you only get 6 months with that one. So the better deal is to take advantage of this if you're interested in the MSR. Kimmy, did you ever buy any of the other Fortunas? Did you buy the Phoenix or the any of the other ones that came up in the past years?
Strange thing, it would have to be, Griff, the Archimedes. I have an Emerald Archimedes.
Nice. I would get that. I actually would. That's one I would get. I didn't, because that's nice. That Emerald one is nice. Very, very cool. So you'll be able to dock in style to a constellation, huh? With a little green style. I like that. I like that. That's very, very cool. All right. So I don't know how many of you guys ended up biting. And like Kelosal said, CIG got us again. That commercial.
Wait a minute. Didn't you guys say what was almost like 500,000 revenue?
Yeah. I think there's like 400,000 that they made, very I'm not mistaken, if I read the chart right the other day on Friday. Very so nice. I didn't look today, but yeah, they definitely brought in the income as usual, right? Let's see who said Gladestone. Hey, thank you for the 6-month subscription, Glade. Oh, thank you. Oh, long old time friend. That's the guy I went to my first CitizenCon with was Gladestone back in the day. Nice. Back in the day. Okay. Wow. Let's also talk about something else that's taking place. Let me jump to this image here. And this was in the newsletter this week as a sneak peek. Anybody got any ideas? I think I know what it is, but I'm concerned.
What is there to sneak around about? It looks like a Hercules, right?
Okay.
It looks like me.
Yep, it does.
The cylindrical design, the circular, that's all manufacturer brand right there. It screams something from Crusader.
And let me tell you how this gives it away. Remember the IAE? Okay, and remember our good friend that went ahead and toured through the Hercules, came to that very end of the cargo area when it opened up so nicely. So my whole thing is, okay, great job CIG, but give us another sneak peek of a different ship, maybe like the Merchantman, because we already saw this in the IA. I'm saying that this is the Hercules. That's as far as C2 or M2, I don't know what it is.
Okay, now I have a problem with this image, and I want you guys to take a look at it. I'm hoping that what I'm seeing is not true. Take a really good look at that image. I agree with you. It is the C2, but there's something bothering me.
Obstructed, though.
Thank you, Kimmy. Thank you.
It's kind of obstructed. It's kind of like only certain things can get by. You have a lot of room, but
that's a good question.
If something else has a wide berth, I mean, why is that obstructed?
Right. And what I can't tell is whether or not those are just some form of elevators that are in a lowered position. Because when we saw it, like Kelosal said, at IAE, we didn't see that. And we know they're still working on the ship. So I'm hoping that that's just something that's like an elevators that are down on each side and that they go up. Because if that, like you said, that nice wide berth, if that's obstructed, first of all, you can't, a Nova tank couldn't go through there.
Okay,
a buggy could.
Look at the ceilings. Look at that. That's it looks like but there's something higher up there, another level.
How about this? Phantom is saying that this is the A2.
The A2.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
Ooh.
So that is Phantom.
Ooh, Phantom.
Did your frown just turn upside down, Griff? Was that the exclamation that?
Well, it makes sense now. I mean, not to be funny, because to Colosal's point, why show us the C2 right now? We already know what that looks like. But they may have done exactly what he said. They're showing us something different. Because the A2 is coming in the following quarter after that.
Right.
So there you go. So, hey, hats off to Phantom on dropping that. That really might be it. I love it. Very, very cool. So for those, and I have an A2 now. It took me a while to move up to it, but I did finally end up getting it. So anyway, again, we're going to be talking about logistics today, gang. And so give me a hot second to bring up a definition here. And my counterparts here have this alongside. They're looking at this as well. So you guys bear with us because we're going to do a little bit of reading and then we're going to do a little bit of talking today. The question is, what is logistics? And the answer that I dug up, some of these answers are very generic, gang. Please understand, I'm not coming up with logistics 900 years from now. I'm logistics today, but trying to make it fit that time period. The detailed coordination of a complex operation involving. Okay, you gonna read it or me? You go ahead and read it. Go ahead and read it. We can't both read it, so go ahead and read it. Oh my God! Go ahead. Go ahead and read it. Seriously,
we're looking at the same thing.
Let me think out loud real quick.
No, seriously, Kimmy, go ahead. No, seriously, go ahead. No, go ahead, because I'm talking enough. Go ahead.
On the same page, Griff. The detailed coordination of a complex operation involving many people, the facilities, and or supplies, the logistics and costs of a vaccination campaign.
Okay, so this gives us a real generic but general idea of what logistics is, and what we're going to be talking about is what all does it take. The theme of this show is logistics, getting from here to there. We want to start talking about what does it really take to get somewhere. The reason why this subject came up is for this show was because quite often, some of you remember, for example, when the Valkyrie came out, there were people saying, oh, there's no place to put cargo on the Valkyrie. And this was in the very first iteration of it. And I kept wondering, what were people worrying about with the Valkyrie in relation to cargo, right? Because I'm like, you're not going to use it for a cargo runner. What's the big deal? But there were some practical reasons for needing cargo on that ship. Now, at the time, CIG has lockers and other areas on the ship to store things. But I think a lot of people kept worrying about, oh, I can't put cargo on it. But cargo is a generic term. I want to know, what are the things that you are considering cargo? And that's what we're going to talk about today. What are the things you need to travel in space, to get from one place to another, to get there safely, to get there, to deliver whatever it is, whether you have to worry about piracy. And that's kind of the theme of this whole thing. So we want you guys to think about that, okay? So the very first one, Kimmy, if you don't mind reading, seriously, if you would read off the first one for cargo, and then we're going to talk about a couple of sample ships there, okay?
All right. For cargo, it's based on economics. Essentially, the word cargo refers in particular to goods or produce being conveyed, generally for a commercial purpose or gain. Be it water, air, or land, freight is the money paid to carry your cargo. Cargo was originally a shipload. So we have some sample ships. We have two. There's quite a few, but we're going to bring up two. And one is the illustrious Drake Caterpillar. Smile when I say that, Kelosal, please. And and what is it?
We fly on a Drake.
And the space, what is that? Miss, whole D.
All right, so why don't we go ahead and start with the Caterpillar first? That would be a good one for us to look at. Okay, so let me give you guys some stats on the cat. Let's see, media overview. Where's the crew number here? I'm so blind. I haven't read these things in so long. Now, you guys know some of the stuff on the website is not current. So we understand that, so keep that in mind. Yep, but just as some place to work, it has a minimum crew of 2, maximum crew of 4. Kelosal, let me toss this to you. Is that sufficient for a Caterpillar in your eyesight? Can you take a Caterpillar and go do everything you need to do in a cat?
Yeah, I mean, Caterpillar is a versatile ship. I mean, it's got modules. It's got multiple modules that you can go ahead and switch things out on. Minimum crew of 2, maximum of 4. I mean, nice, but you can fit obviously more than that in terms of if you want a security detail. And if we're talking about logistics, then the Caterpillar definitely has a bay right in the front for a whole fleet of dragonflies, just in case if it ever needs to go to that level. So, I mean, it's a great ship. It's a versatile ship. Probably one of the most versatile in the game as of right now. It's not modular as of right now, but it is planned to be. So I would definitely consider a Caterpillar at this stage in the game if you're looking for modularity and you're looking for logistics. So we'll talk more about that a little bit later.
576. That's the cargo capacity. So
576.
Not too shabby.
Yeah. In fact, the Caterpillar for quite a while has been the go-to ship for most people who've been hauling cargo in Star Citizen. We know that's going to change over time, but it's one of the more popular ships for doing cargo. Kimmy, if you were to take a Caterpillar out and thinking about how the capacity is inside that ship, there's several positions in there, right? There's obviously the pilot, right? There's a co-pilot position. There is a tractor beam position. And if I'm not mistaken, is there 2 gunners? Does anybody remember? Is it 1 or 2 gunners in the Cat? Because I don't remember.
You got
Chat, do you guys remember?
Weaponry,
2. Okay, Zarek says 2. Okay.
2.
So Zarek says 2 that are there as gunners. Okay. So what are some things that Kimmy, let's use a scenario. If you're going to take a Caterpillar out and go do a cargo mission, let's say that you've got a full load. What are some things you're going to be considering that you've got to be able to get on that ship to get from here to there?
One of the things I'm going to consider is maybe some of that cargo space. I might need a ship or something to abandon with like a dragonfly to get myself off of the ship, just in case things go south and I do not make it from A to B. A backup plan. You would think that by that time we'll be talking about death of the spaceman and things to ensure your safety and health. But I definitely would want to have definitely want real crew members when we're talking about crew members who can basically defend themselves, defend the cargo, and on that ship, I'm going to make sure I have like weapons and ballistics to reload and things of that nature if it comes down to a firefight. If they're looking for my cargo, more than likely they're going to try to disable the ship, and so it could be a shootout. And with the size of that ship, it's been done before in early stages of the game where there was firefights done or performed inside the ship. So I'll get myself prepared for a firefight, have the armor and weaponry just in case we get held up.
Okay. And Kelosal, let me jump to you because Kimmy just raised a really good point. I don't know if everyone has thought about, are you going, when people think about tricking out their ship, when they talk about, getting their ship to, this certain standard, most of the time we've been focusing in on things like components, right? Like, better quantum drives, better shields, better power sources, things like that. Do we need to start thinking about some other things like food, medical supplies, guns? I mean, are you going to trick your ship out so that your ship is like loaded, or are you going to kind of let your players like bring their weapons? And I'm saying this because if you're hiring me to help do, let's say, security on your ship, are you going to provide me with the tools to do it, or do I need to bring my own? And is that going to factor into how much I charge you now because I'm using my stuff? You got any thoughts?
Well, once again, that is going to be up to the provider, because there's multiple ways of providing logistics. But there are, and I've been looking this up, and there are, from what I've seen, there are 5 things that you should always do as you're planning for logistics, right? And one of those 5 things, and this is from one of these companies out in Europe and things like that. One of those 5 things is you should make the time to make a solid plan. That's number 1. So if that entails you going out and buying or purchasing the services, maybe a Rexzilla, group and stuff like that, because I believe he does things like that. Purchase the service of some type of an escort without having to change or modulate a bay in a Caterpillar, so you can go ahead and make room to bring in more money. Right, because if you modulate one of those bays, you're taking the risk of losing money because you're trying to modulate that into a medical bay or a rack of guns. So, but if you let's say use that bay for not consumption, but basically a way to make money, then you can go ahead and plan for other exterior events, such as bringing in a group of friends, bringing in a group that's going to help you escort your ship, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 fighters. Always have a contingency plan. So you always want to have a backup plan, right? Hire a logistics manager to go ahead with strong skills that can go ahead and make sure that your people are taken care of. Have some type of automated system. I look at websites, and I'll talk to you about some websites that I'll look at later, and learn from your mistakes. Those are the 5 top things in logistics.
Okay.
that you look at in order to properly plan for logistics. So yes, you may need to buy or purchase a group of people that aren't on your ship but are providing escorts. Not as much, but at least enough that's going to be able to get you from point A to point Z.
Okay. Mouth Breather 66. Thank you for the follow. And
Wow.
Jacka Hit. Thank you, Jackal Hit for the follow as well. We appreciate that.
Thanks
So
for the follow.
Kimmy, Colossal took us to the aspect of contracting, right? Hiring
Yeah.
mercenaries or security teams that would be able to assist us so that we could keep our ship full. Let me ask you this. A lot of our ships, especially the larger ships, have galleys. They've got kitchens. They've got these areas with food. Are you going to pack that thing in for your crew, or are you going to tell your crew, make sure you bring your protein bar with you? How do you plan on tricking your ship out for those type of travels? Are you gonna provide that type of stuff for folks, or are your cupboards going to be bare, basically?
Yes. I say that this because based on the economy system, you know, if things are, like life, right? Chris is going to make this a simulator, and it's going to mimic life. So great times, good runs, and making money. Those cupboards are going to be stocked to the brim. But when you run into rough times and you don't make the money, or the missions run sideways, and you're barely scraping the bottom just to make a living, you're gonna expect them to bring their own child.
Yeah.
So
Well, let me throw something in, a couple things here. First of all, Raymar says that he only drinks certain types of pips, so I guess he's going to have that in his contract. There's only certain things he drinks.
Right.
And I want to go back to something that
That's hilarious.
something that Zarek says here. Mouth Breather says, "Bring your own burritos." Okay. Zarek says something here that I think that's really, because Colossal, you said hire a logistics person. Zarek says here that we also have to take into consideration in logistics that the Caterpillar can do a longer run in quantum than your fighters can, which means that you've got to stop.
That sounds right.
Because your fighters can't make that full run, right?
True.
So now,
That's a great point.
as a part of your logistics, you've got to be able to, and Kimmy, you mentioned this earlier, and we talked about, doing your homework on the star map, right? Where is it I need to be able to stop?
What's ideal?
If I'm jumping 3 or 4 systems where these fighters can refuel safely, right?
Learn your system.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be another factor in logistics, because otherwise most people are just thinking, I'm just going to make this run, boom, 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 and I'm done. But if you've got an escort group, and you guys already know this, most fighters, their range is short. Unless you're taking a heavy fighter with you, and even those can only go so far in comparison to some of the larger cargo ships. So that's another logistics point. Thanks for mentioning that, Zarek. That's a really, really good point for people to have to think about. Let's move to the other ship here, because we talked about the Caterpillar. Hull D, another ship that folks are looking forward to. Kimmy, do you own a Hull D?
No, I do not.
Okay.
But it's an interesting ship, and it's not the biggest of that variant. So yeah, it's wow.
Yep. And I picked the Hull D particularly instead of the E or the C, because we know the C is going to be the more common, and most people kind of feel that the C is the ship that individual or civilian should be able to operate with, of course, with help. But they think once you start getting to the D and E, now you're starting to move toward org related sizes where you're moving certain types of content. What about you, Colossal? You have a Hull D or any?
No.
Okay, nope. Okay.
No, I have a whole C, because that takes major. And you talking about logistics. That's the whole epitome of the word logistics, especially that whole E.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're gonna have to provide some major logistics on that one if you bring it in, because now once everybody sees, basically, a whale in space, and I mean, you're just setting yourself up for a prime time world of heat of hurting if you don't have your logistics in order. So nope, don't have a whole D. Too much for my fancy. In terms of logistics.
Okay. Yeah.
Could I segue real quick?
Sure.
Real quick. I said this about the Hull a few episodes back. That I would imagine that it's going to be those schools of fish that you see in these oceanic documentaries, where it's a huge school of fish, and then you'll see maybe a seal or a shark going in to take a bite out of one or two, but it's still moving on. And that was my way of just seeing or imagining how these whole MISC will actually work in game. And especially when you see Tony Z mentioned too that the cargo lanes, and sometimes they can be blocked, but they won't be blocked for long. But logistically speaking, do you want to go ahead and route those whole series like that way and just go with the flow of the main cargo branch to deliver these this freight? And so you want to use, is that a part of the logistics of, just swimming with the pack, right? And every now and then you'll see a shark/pirate come in to take a chunk or try to work on one ship, but it's a school of whole miss just going to those paths. It just makes me think about that in that sense. You don't want to stray too far.
I know when we saw the video that Star Jump did from Drake that he released last year right around anniversary time, he had a sequence in there where a cutlass rolls up to a hull and uses this tractor beam and pulls the cargo piece off and takes off with it. I'm nothing against, that was something that he put together. He says, I'm just putting this stuff together. It's nothing in stone, but I don't think it's going to be that easy. First of all, getting a moving ship is going to be an issue. Secondly, even if the ship is disabled, for those of you who've never looked at a hull is a very, very, very big ship. The length on a hull D is 209 meters. Oh, Lefty, thank you for the subscription. Wow, in advance. Oh wow, Lefty, thank you, man. That is so. Thank you, dude. We really appreciate that. The cargo capabilities. Zarek, thank you for the follow as well, Zarek Masters. The cargo capacity on the old numbers, guys, because we know these numbers could change, is 20,000. And so the question becomes, what's the reality of what it means to get a ship like a Hull D? S-Flyer, thank you for the follow. We appreciate that as well. What's the reality of being able to steal stuff off the ship? CIG put out a video a little while back on the Hull C, and it showed where someone was trying to pirate the ship. They weren't trying to take the stuff on the outside. They were trying to break into the interior. And you saw the crew members getting their weapons and lining up for basically somebody who was about to board their ship. Sethius, Seth, good to see Sethius. Seth, thank you, Seth.
Good to see you,
wow, thank you, Seth. Boy, oh boy, good to see you, buddy. So here's with this whole D. I mean, are people, Kelosal, you said people are going to see a target. And Shive, thank you, Shive. Oh my God, all our good friends from Test. All of our good friends at Test are stopping by tonight. Thank you, guys. We appreciate you guys.
Squadron.
Yeah. So I mean, our whole D's and E's. I mean, logistically, we could talk about logistics in the sense of operating. What is the logistics of trying to take one of these ships? I mean, it's no small task unless you take the ship. I mean, board it and take it. Yes. I mean, what's the reality of taking 20,000 in CU? I don't see it. Well, maybe I'm missing something.
Yeah. Well, the reality is that if you're
thank you, Sethius. Subscribe for 6 months in advance. Dudes, thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much. Thank you.
So the reality is, if you're a pirate, you're not going to sacrifice anything unless it's worth value.
Right.
Okay. And if you're seeing a whole D, then it better damn well be in safe space. Pretty much, unless you have a sturdy type of defense. That's just no question, no ifs, ands, buts about it. I can't wait to see these ships in game used by the UEE, because they're used for military purposes in game by the UEE. Mm-hmm. But as far as for orgs, they're not technically supposed to be for large size orgs like Test, right? Mm-hmm. They're supposed to be for mid-level orgs and things like that. Test is going to use a ship like Hull E and things like that to go ahead and put that around, because we got enough people to go ahead and provide that type of support. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to use a Hull D, then and you're going to go ahead and fight or try to go ahead and take over that, then you're basically risking a financial operation. And you think that that's the best way to go, because that's going to go ahead and earn your piracy org a whole bunch of money. So you better be willing to, the risk benefit type deal, the cost benefit type deal, or the risk cost, or whatever you want to call it, utilitarianism. Mm-hmm. You better be willing to bet throw your eggs in one basket, because that's going to be a costly event.
Wow. S Flyer, thank you for the subscription with Prime, and thank you for giving out 5. Yeah, S Flyer gave out 5 gift subscriptions to the community. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. You guys are awesome. And as you guys know, anything we bring into the show, we turn right back around. And by the way, I forgot to mention that. Thank you all again for your contributions. Last week we gave away $720. Let James Brown get through. We gave away 720.
Working tonight, man. Oh my God! What is
splits? He's about to lose.
Man, you need to get a caper emote. Boy, Hitman working. He needs a caper one.
He's working today. Look at him,
Lord.
I feel good.
I think that was the last one. Hopefully it was. Okay, it was. Okay. We gave away $720 in ships last week on our anniversary. Awesome. And that was because of you guys and your contributions and giving to us. And we really appreciate the fact that you guys have done that for us. So awesome. Oh God, Seth just gave 5 subscriptions away as well. Thank you guys so much. Okay, I think we're going to have to change the sound. We're going to change the sound. Okay.
Very generous.
Yeah, I know. Thank you guys so much. We're gonna move on to the next thing. Kelosal, would you mind reading the next category once James Brown is through?
Sure, absolutely.
All right, once James Brown is through, wait till he's through.
The hardest working man.
Yeah.
So we ready to go? Okay, James Brown looks like he's done.
Okay. Oh no, come on, Artie. Oh my God. All right, guys. Thank you guys.
RXY,
oh my God.
Oh my God.
Thank
man,
you all.
Tonight?
They have lost it. All right.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna get this next ship queued up.
Trade, right? So
yeah,
we're jumping on trade.
Yeah, we're moving the trade.
And
it's in gravy.
We're trying to. Oh, come on, Lefty. Oh, come on, guys. Come on, guys.
Chicken.
Lefty, come on. Lefty just gave 10 gift subscriptions.
What?
Okay, guys. All right, thanks. You guys, it's embarrassing at this point. Thank you guys, though.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Touched.
We can't even do the show now. I'm gonna go have a smoke because we can't even do the show now because of James Brown.
James said, "I need to smoke."
I feel good.
Y'all making James work tonight. Oh my God. Okay, guys.
I feel good.
I know this is crazy. Thank you, Testies. You guys are the best. Thank you, guys. Okay.
Now let's just smoking this. You got it.
I feel good.
Nice.
Okay. I'm going to bring up this the next ship we're going to be talking about here.
You want me to read this thing?
Yeah, I think they can hear you. Go ahead and read it.
All right. So when we talk about trade, basically trade involves transfer of goods or services from one person's or entity to another, often in exchange for the money. The second ship that we'll go ahead and bring up, obviously, are these. One of my favorite ships, and the other one is one of my friends' favorites. Talking about smoking if you got it. The Merchantman, one of my all-time favorite ships, and then of course the other one is Privateer. So let's go ahead and look at starting with the Merchantman. What do you guys think about the Griff?
Oh my God.
Well, you know, this is kind of an interesting piece because I think we need to. I always have to distinguish trade and cargo, right? Cargo, in my definition, guys, this is my definition, is when I'm hired or take a mission to carry someone else's items from one location to another. Maybe there's a mission giver that says that there's some medical supplies needed on this particular moon or in this particular system, something along those lines. Trade is when the items that are on that ship are mine. I personally own them and I am selling them.
Here it comes, Mad Style.
Oh God, Mad Style now. Oh my God, come on.
Oh, 07.
Mad Style 20. Oh my God, Mad Style gave out 20.
What?
20 of them, and then Melvillus comes on. How you doing, brother? Good to
I
see you.
feel good.
Holy smokes, guys.
Okay, you guys, this is too much. Thank you guys so
James Brown about
much.
to catch on fire, man. He's
I feel
All right, we're in
good.
a hype mode, guys, of level 5 at this point. Thank you guys
Holy
so
smokes.
much.
You need to emote this for James.
Yeah, please. I know that's right. I know that's right. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
All right, thank you guys. We really appreciate
Yeah,
it.
down tonight.
I feel
What in
good.
the
Yeah, if
world?
nothing else, you put the money right back in the bank so we can do more giveaways. So,
Oh,
so thank you
yes.
guys. We will
Yes.
definitely do that.
We have Colossus
I feel
King
good.
today.
Yeah. Hey, Standard. All right. So, and thank you, Quiet J, 100 bits. We appreciate that.
Oh my
I
god.
feel good.
Nice.
Mad Style says, I'm not going to be outdone. It's, but it's crazy.
Oh my
stuff.
god.
20 sub gifts. All right. So hopefully you guys, I don't even have, they gave away so many subs. We don't even have enough viewers to take all these subs right now. So thank you guys.
I feel good.
Okay.
Wise, your daughters.
I know. Okay, so let me get back to this thing about the ship, the merchantman.
I feel good.
I do have
where
one
we are,
piece.
man.
I know. I have
This is
one piece of
crazy.
advice regarding the merchantman.
I feel good.
Last week on the show, we gave away one of these, and one of the things that I mentioned was if you have an opportunity,
I feel good.
if you have an opportunity to buy one, get one. And there's a reason why I'm saying this. There are very few ships left in the CIG list of ships.
I feel good.
There are very few of those ships that were the original concept drawn ships where the metrics were not created.
I feel good.
The Banu ship is one of those ships where, and what I mean by that, for those of you who don't get what I'm saying, is that when these ships were first conceived,
I feel good.
when they were first conceived, they didn't have the true metrics for them. In other words, how tall people would be, the width of the corridors, things of that nature.
I feel good.
And if you look at the history of how CIG has operated, any ships that they have built that were in those pre-days of metrics
I feel good.
have always grown in size. We first saw it with the Starfarer, and then we've seen it with other ships that existed prior to.
I feel good.
So we saw the Carrot grow. We know that the Orion is going to grow. The Javelin. All of those ships.
I feel good.
The Endeavor. No, and the Endeavor.
God.
And the Endeavor. All those ships that were pre-metrics are going to grow in size. Quiet J, thank you again for the 100 bits. Thank you so much.
Oh my god.
And so any of those ships that were pre-metrics more than likely will grow in size. Now, we don't know how big the Banu Merchantman is going to be. We do know that it was considered at one point, it was considered a corvette. It's still in the lore considered to be their flagship military ship. So we feel that it means that even though it's a trade ship, it has a good amount of defensive and offensive capability. But some of you also know that part of the lore of the Defender is that the Banu Defenders are supposed to be designed to work in some synchronous way with the Banu Merchantman, right? But we don't know what that is. We just know that there's some synchronicity that is supposed to exist between those two ships. And so one of the reasons why the Defender has mid-range weapons instead of short range is because of that. Now, when it comes to defending the ship, I don't know what the defensive capabilities are other than this is the Banu capital. So taking it out, yes, you're going to need to have some type of escorts because more than likely, Seth, thank you so much for the 1,000 bits. Thank you, Seth.
Oh my god.
But taking that ship out, not only is it the value of the ship, but obviously if it's a trade ship, the items that you have on it, as I mentioned earlier, are not somebody else's, they're yours. And if you lose it, that's your money out of your pocket that's gone. And so that you have a different relationship with this cargo versus when you're taking a cargo ship, it's somebody else's stuff, which you could probably have insured. This stuff is yours. And if you've traveled all over to different systems to help build up your stock on that ship, and all of a sudden you have to worry about it being pirated or lost, I think you're going to have a really bad day. So that's all I got to say about the Banu Merchantman.
I got something on that just opened my mind up about the Banu Merchant.
Mm-hmm.
Well, based on what the most recent thing John Crew mentioned, he did mention something as far as the Defender having some sort of link or symbiotic link to the Merchantman that will make it a powerful weapon to ward off or defend. But with that said, breaking it down to the core details of the cargo aspect, the Banu Merchantman has the opportunity to become so unique in the sense that players themselves, and I think even CIG may follow suit based upon what the backers will do. And I'm thinking, I'm putting myself in the feet of the backers. You may have certain backers or individuals who just do components to trade. You may have other backers or Banu Merchantmen who will do just weapons. They have that option. Or then you have maybe backers who will do just about everything, a one-stop shop. Or then you may have a backer who will do the things based upon exotics. And so that can go from anything from livestock of alien life forms or fish and whatever. But then what you guys helped me to look at also, and it's not, well, with the Banu Merchantman, it has the opportunity to take advantage of the reputation system. So if you're in the pyro system and you're well known, even with pirates, so basically when you meet to rendezvous in that location, they're gonna have your back because they know you are gonna have the goods.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not so much that you have to make sure you have to have that security detail.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you may have the support of pirates in the pyro system because you have that connect. So that's going to lend to some interesting layers and complexities in game that you will be able to do things that others may not have to do, or pay, or actually have to pay extra in those logistics to ensure that they can sell their goods.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Reputation system plays into logistics.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Okay. Kelosal, what about you? Banu?
I'm excited. I've always loved the Banu Merchantman. I'm excited to see what they're going to do about the concepts. But in reference to logistics, we know that the Banu Merchantman is designed to be in tandem with the Defender.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of those park it and come over here and get your goods type ships.
Mm-hmm.
And so the logistics could vary here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could be in one location for a day. You could be in one location for days.
Mm-hmm.
You could be in one location for a week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Until your resources have to be replenished, and then you're gone.
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And if your prices are good, you know, there's always somebody that's trying to go ahead and undercut somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then of course, if you undercut somebody at too much, then that person might sick out the hounds on you.
Mm.
So,
Put a hit on you.
right. So hopefully there's some type of communication system on the Banu Merchantman that is detectable, that can catch these types of communications between nefarious folks.
Reputation again.
Right, you know what I'm saying, and that plays into it as well. If you build up your reputation in a particular system where you can go ahead and just chill out and hang like a pyro, okay, and you know pyro is already depleted anyways, so you know I understand you got some pirates in there, but they're going to need some bit of easy traveling instead of jumping between several systems that may not allow them to get through.
Mm-hmm.
So a Banu Merchantman, I don't think it's going to be as targeted as most people think, like a whole series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I got common sense that whoever's flying around in there.
Right, because like I said, it's basically a one-stop shop. The trades are in space, and one moment's there and one moment is gone.
Yeah. And
so go ahead, Griff.
No, I was just going to say real quick, Chrome Ninja, thank you for the follow. Vengeful 77 rather, thank you for the subscriptions for 3 months.
Thanks for the follow.
And Kimmy touched on the other point that we had mentioned on a previous show, is that those people who are living in unlawful areas, who cannot go into the UEE, they are going to need a means to purchase and buy and sell. They can't come into UEE space to do it. And so ships like this, as you mentioned, Kimmy, could be very welcome in areas where other people would not go. In fact, the word may be out, when there's a Banu Merchantman in the system, don't mess with them, because this is who's providing us with our resources, where we buy our weapons or whatever the case may be.
Don't NPCs have a say in this too?
They can. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely.
they probably come in and want supplies.
Yeah, they could.
Or it'd be
stopping
great.
them?
You know, it'd be great if a Banu Merchantman could have a cargo area that was undetectable.
Yeah, if they could. Yeah, right.
And that's I didn't think of that one, Colossal.
So that way you
Right.
that group calls you up and says, okay, Kimmy, we need Kimmy's organization, incorporated to come over here because we need these. Kimmy's like, okay, I'll be there and da 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 da. Make sure you park those gates. I'm only going to be there for a couple of hours. So get what you need. You already know you get that discount. And then Kimmy comes in there, and instead of Kimmy running around here with quantum drive component, he's got some quantanium, or some type of, item that's combustible and can blow up and things like what have you. And Kimmy's got that undetected. I mean, it'd be amazing the types of things that you can do with this, but logistics with this, I don't think would be as deep as you would need to have if you had a whole series.
Okay.
I want to say this real quick. If CIG is listening to this, and a lot of you guys know what it is about I don't go to a barbershop anymore. I cut my own hair, but there's a lot of you out there who know what happens with the barbershop type of thing. You have these entrepreneurs that will show up with items that will sell these items in a barbershop at a really good price. And so hopefully if SIG is watching this, it would also be a good transport or avenue for pirates to have pilfered goods to unload those hot items. And maybe there's some technology that the Banu can kind of clear those hot items or fence them.
Well, they do have shops. They do have shops in the Banu merchant.
There are shops.
Maybe you could purchase a particular store and stay there for that time period.
And let me use this as a transition to our second ship, because we've been on the Banu a little bit. I want to go over to the Privateer, because those of you who own the Privateer know, as Kelosal just mentioned, that it has shops too, but it also has 2 secret shops on board. And so it kind of, CIG kind of did a wink toward black market items or illegal items or things of that nature that could be sold on this particular ship as well. Let me bounce back to Kelosal, then Kimmy. Kelosal, you mentioned about one of our friends as a privateer. Pros and cons on a ship like this. I mean, a privateer, unlike the Banu merchantman, has a completely different design. It is not considered a capital ship. It's not necessarily, even though we've seen it kind of tricked out weapons wise, it does have a Drake reputation. And CIG has made it very clear that a Drake compared to an Aegis in the sense of structure, armor, things like that, are not equal. What is the value of a ship like this? What does it take to escort this? I mean, you got all these decks on this ship. Are these decks there for people who are coming to just purchase, or is that part of your defensive security crew when you're moving that ship back and forth for trade?
It'll be both. Like I said, one thing about a Drake, and I always pick on a Drake. I think Drake is a great ship, but once again, you fly on it, you die on it. So
eject is not an option.
It's not an option, sir. But
that's a great ship name for a Drake out there. For someone who want to name that Drake ship.
Eject is not an option for the name. That's funny.
But I think a privateer, doesn't the privateer, and like I said, chat, help me out with this. I believe a privateer has more cargo space than a merchantman, right?
They've been going back and forth about that because they were talking about reducing it, and I know the community went crazy. So I don't know. Let's look at the stats. I'll bring up the stats while you're talking. Go ahead.
Right, because I believe there's a lot of things that they took out of the private. They brought into the privateer and took out of the regular Kraken. Shops, I would not be surprised. I mean, I think they do have crew quarters, so I wouldn't be surprised if they had their own security deck and things like that. They still got the landing decks on top, so you still can use that for any types of major air support. So I mean, I believe what is it with a Drake? Isn't it? The armor is a lot weaker on the Drake, I believe.
Yeah, that's what I said. They just said comparison. If you were to compare it to like Aegis, which is much more battle designed, but it's still, they say it's still sturdy.
The wires,
right?
It's
sturdy.
It's a big ship, and another good thing about the Kraken. I don't know if the privateer can do it. It should be able to do it. The Kraken can land on surfaces, right?
Yeah, right.
So can. If that's the case, I'm quite sure the privateer be.
Oh, it can. Oh, yeah, definitely.
So that would allow that ship to be in planets like a Ryza type planet, Star Trek type deal, and maybe sell goods to the rich and famous, or things like that. So there's a lot of avenue with, there's some pictures right there. There's a lot of avenue with the privateer that could be very, very beneficial. I think it'd be well suited for logistics. I think it'd be well suited for defense, because once again, they do have those landing zones on top. So they're their own,
mobile logistics itself.
Mobile logistics bazaar type deal. Yeah.
Okay. Very cool.
I think it's a little bizarre between the two when you're talking about the cargo capacity between the Kraken and the privateer, because it was brought as a variant to say it's more on the trading and business side, the Kraken, but it holds a capacity of 768. That's just now. That could change. When you compare to the Kraken, the original release of 2018, it holds 3,792 cargo. So it's a little variation there that says, wait a minute, who's the more commercial type ship? But then when you look at the privateer, I think some of the advantages as far as, trading and such, it's I think it's robust enough to you don't have to have a full complement of security. It can handle its own. But I think the extra thing that it could probably do is, as opposed to having items, a lot of the items, mainly when you think about ship components, they have a ship repair facility. So it could be a thing for pirates, a place for them to say, okay, I'm going to land on the privateer, get this component fixed or repaired, and you pay for that transaction there.
Yeah, that could be. And again, the privateer, even though there's 768 in cargo, there's still the storage in all of the, I think, 9 or 7 stores that you have as well. Again, distinguishing between cargo and trade, right? I mean, the privateer is distinctly being lined up like the merchantman, where it's more about trade and doing transactions more than the whole, getting from here to there when we start talking about, the whole series of ships. Let me ask both of you guys a question. Have you all thought about, on logistics, what percentage you're willing to pay out in versus how much you're willing to keep in your pocket when it comes to security? All the, when it's all said and done, how much are you willing to split the numbers? Have you thought about, like, are you going to have a flat number for security? Are you going to say, hey, I pay, 20% of my money goes towards security? Or are you going to base it upon negotiating with the security people? Have you thought about that yet?
I mean, I've thought about, when you're doing, some logistics could be as in, if you're trading, first of all, you don't trade your goods, you trade somebody else's. I mean, you escort, or you trade somebody else's goods. So you could use that money right off front to go ahead and buy what you need to buy and hope that you get that money in return plus some.
Okay.
That's what I would do in terms of, maybe it's as far as cargo, but going over to trade, if you're going to go ahead and use your money, then you could use, I've seen some logistics where they're spending about a quarter, if not a quarter, almost half of their money on support or security. On support or security. And the hope is that, some people jack up the prices of the goods in order to come out on top. So, that could be the case, or you establish your own security where basically your org has whatever type of dividends to split up the costs.
Okay.
But it could be interesting.
Okay. All right. Let's jump a little bit. Kimmy, would you mind reading the next category for us, which is salvage?
Oh yeah, one of my favorite. According to salvage, this is the process of recovering a ship and its cargo after a shipwreck or other maritime casualty. Salvage may encompass towing, refloating a vessel, or effecting repairs to a ship. Today, protecting the coastal environment from spillage of oil or other contaminants is a high priority. So we have 2 ships that will serve that purpose. It's the SRV, which will,
I'm going to change up, Kimmy. Let's do it with the Crucible instead of the SRV, if that's okay.
Thank you. How about that?
Okay. The Crucible for repair. Okay. And the Reclaimer.
Yep.
I thought you were going to throw in the Vulture, but it's all good.
Yeah, well, like I said, I'm mixing it up a little bit. This Vulture is a smaller version. So,
okay.
Crucible. This ship is way down the pipe. We you know, it's not something that we're expecting to see anytime soon. But it does go to what Kimmy mentioned in the description there. We start dealing with repair and salvage and towing. In fact, when the Crucible first came out, it was supposed to have a tow ship that was supposed to come with it, and then they changed it, and now we have the SRV. Is this ship need an escort? Or is this going to be one of those ships that could be just out there, people see it floating around, it's like, that ship that's on there is busted anyway? I mean, does this need any logistics in the sense of protection and security? Obviously we know it needs things like food and things of that nature, but what are some other logistical things that need to be on a ship like the Crucible?
Skilled crew that knows how to repair, of course. So I wouldn't go out there with just NPCs in that sense, unless I had no other choice. But also the material. You definitely got to have the material, because if you're going to a specific area or a place where you know that there's a lot of an aftermath of space battles taking place, or people trying to, you know, not have their insurance premiums go up, it would serve you best to have enough of supplies to basically repair these ships and bring them back to a point where they're actually better than the showroom floor. That was the concept of the Crucible, that once you go through a repair process with them, you have the opportunity to have the hull hardened to the extent that it's even better than what the manufacturer has done. So, yeah, as a Crucible owner, you want to have, matter of fact, you want to have the cargo filled to the hilt in regards to hull repair, and because you don't know how long, you know, you want to be able to fix these ships as long as possible before you have to go back and replenish, restock those pieces of material, because you don't know, as far as supply and demand, it may be harder for you to get. So get as much as you can, as much as you can stand.
So, Kelosal, logistics question. My ship has been damaged in battle, right? Matter of fact, it's been damaged to the point where I can't fly it. Why is there a better edge to get a Crucible and somebody to repair my ship than it is for me to lay a claim on it? Why does this ship become more beneficial?
Well, because first of all, I think the Crucible has a ship that you can upgrade your components. That's one thing about the Crucible. I mean, you can use the Crucible to upgrade whatever you got on that ship. So, I mean, versus once you and then obviously you got to get to the docks first if you're out in space stranded. So it's almost, you know, I understand some people want to go ahead and reclaim this stuff, but once the game comes out, you got to get to that station. And if you're out stranded in space, talking about reclaiming might not be as beneficial to you.
But there's another point about reclaiming that I want you to hit on, though.
Right.
What is it? Does anybody, either of you guys know? Does anybody in chat know what it is? Why is it better to go to that? Why is it better to go
to what?
Why is it better to go to the Crucible versus claiming your ship?
Because once you reclaim,
insurance rates are going to go up.
Right.
And
Don't
you're going to be.
Admiral Kusanagi says claiming ships will be much difficult. It would take a few days or a few real weeks to get your ship back. That's the factor. Time. Time is the factor.
Time is everything, especially if that's your go-to ship to make money. So you're going to have to delegate over to another ship or ask a crew member to borrow a ship, which will be a cost as well. But still, it comes down to you don't have that ship anymore.
What about components?
Wow.
Are all components protected under the insurance?
You can. They said that you will be able to get insurance for that, but the LTI insurance only covers the body. What you get from the manufacturer. Anything that you've done to it extra, you've got to be able to get insurance for that stuff too.
Right.
So that's a double rate. Oh my God.
And by the way, don't forget, guys, if you don't have LTI, you can buy insurance in the game. So, you know, a lot of times people think, oh, I don't have insurance. You will be able to purchase insurance in the game. Okay.
Yep. I have a Crucible.
I got a question. Here's the thing that's interesting. I'm sorry. If your custom components are not ready, does that factor into the timetable of you waiting?
Well, that's a good question. That's a good question. Good question. I don't know. Or, you know, there may be a situation too where some components are only, you can't get them from insurance. When we played Star Wars Galaxy, there was this thing, I forget, what was it called, Kelosal, when somebody would get their weapon, they do this technique to make it better. There were these certain people you would take your weapon to, and there was always a percentage, like if they were really good at it, the percentage of it happening was good and the weapon wouldn't get destroyed. If they were just kind of a rookie at it, the percentage of damaging your weapon or destroying it was there. But my point is that that was something that you had to go to somebody to get done. You couldn't go to a store and get that done.
Yes.
So what it did was it created a career of people who did that. So that would give something like the Crucible, right? I bought the component back, I got it insured, but if I got this super hyper blah 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 version of it that only Kimmy can make, now you see what I'm saying? There's demand for you and your ship now versus me just saying I'm gonna put a claim in and get it back. You know, that has a greater value, especially a value for me losing it. If I lose it, what's the cost to me as well? When maybe I had to you were 7 systems over when I had to get this thing from you, right? So the logistics of that even is another factor. Anyway, anything else you guys want to say about Crucible? And I'm going to move on to the next one.
Yeah, I do because I have a Crucible, so if you ever need your stuff fixed, you can find me at
chat.
You can find me at right. You can find me at absolutely, and you can find me at ImightFixItForYou.com, or you can go ahead and go to Kimmy and you'll get one of those fiat tags called Fix It Again Tony. So if you want to do that,
Kimmy's Credit Repair. If you don't got it, I'll see you later. I'll still fix it for you. No worries.
Put a rubber band around it.
Yeah.
Kimmy says he's doing credit repair too, not only ship repair but credit repair. That's pretty good. Okay, let's go.
Pay me later.
Yeah, let's go to what many of us call in the game the Star Citizen version of the Nostromo, the Reclaimer.
Oh my God.
This is a big one. In relation to this one, no, I'm just going to say in relation to the ship, it's a big ship, right? It's slow. It's a salvage ship, you know, so my question becomes, is this thing got to worry about people picking on it, or is it just going to be, you know, there are some things that are working in space and we just see them all the time and we don't give second thought to, right? Because they're doing maintenance or they're doing something else. Is this ship need escorts? Does it need,
the question will it be anything of value right off the bat? Would it benefit you by attacking? Would you benefit from attacking it, and would those valuables be enough for you?
And let's see. Let me see what the crew let's do the crew complement on this thing. The crew complement on the Reclaimer: minimum 4, maximum of 5. Maximum of 5. Now, some of you guys have these bigger ships. Kimmy, you talked about the Caterpillar earlier, the Reclaimer. Some of these ships have like 6 stations in their command modules. I know for a fact this one has 4 in the command module. Then when you come out of the command module, you know, there's that drone area out back where there's 2 seats in there. And then there's the area with the screens that has 4 monitors there. So I'm not saying that everything has to be manned, but I am saying we have to think about what, you know, a lot of times people say, oh, I'll take 4 people out. Can 4 people run a Reclaimer? I mean, literally run it, because we haven't talked about, and guys, I want you to give me your thoughts on this. We haven't talked about engineers on your ship, medical people. We haven't talked about that. We've just been talking about flying from here to there. But when your ship's on fire, you know, do you need, or, you know, somebody who needs to fix something? Are you guys going to hire engineers? Or are you going to, what are your thoughts? Kimmy, what are you going to do?
Well, I mean, the base, like we're talking about the Reclaimer and its size, it's org centric. It automatically becomes org centric, and just taking it off the pad. I mean, the dollars, you can feel your credits falling out of your pocket just by taking off the pad, man. It's just dripping, man. It's a wet drip coming out of your pocket. And so, with that said, I mean, it's got to take a number of people to be involved in this operation, and to know that it's not about you, but it's about the organization. If you really and truly want to operate this ship the correct way. And so with that said, it's just an operation that have interconnected parts, from the security to the smaller ships that will do the detailed dirty work. in regards to making sure every efficiency is met with the reclaimer. And as you said, Griff, you want to go and be in a complementary crew of actual people as opposed to NPCs or blades. But depending on the economy or the way some situations may happen, you may have to make those changes to blade to NPCs at certain given points. If your org is suffering, you may not have the capability to have a larger operation. So it's more of a thing of you would hope to have variants on your components that will help you sneak in and sneak out. So it's more of a thing where as a larger org, you're there, you're dedicated, you're focused on making that money, but then depending on how things hit you or affect you, you may have to do things solo with a small crew and get in and get out.
Okay. Von Cody says something here. He says if the ship needs repairs, then you go do that job instead of working the drones or the turrets. And Von, I agree with you that your people have to be multi-talented. You can't be just kind of a solo career. Yeah. But this is what I will toss out to you, and let me throw this to you, Kelosal. If I'm on that reclaimer, and I've got a reclaimer, I need somebody in that pilot seat. Right. I mean, I don't care what's going on. Pilot. Somebody always has to be in that pilot seat, because if there's an attack or anything else, I can't afford for anybody to have to run through several doors, up a ladder, and an elevator to get to the pilot. I also want somebody in the co-pilot seat, because as the pilot is preparing to try to get the ship out of whatever, I want somebody else there who's plotting navigation or handling shield management for that person so that they can get that beast moving. So that's 2 people out of 5 gone. 2 people out of 5 are gone. Okay. Now, these people who are operating drones have got to know what they're doing. Drone operators have got to know what they're doing. And this goes to what Kimmy was mentioning earlier about reputation, guys. When we talk about logistics and the people you hire and bring on board your ship, we all have had this situation happen before. Kelosal, when you've gone out with the mole, you've known people to go out with a mole, and maybe some people will go out and then they'll leave the captain's seat so they can go run a laser. That's not going to happen later on. The risk of doing that is going to be crazy.
Death of a spaceman.
What happens when you have the laser operator or the drone operator who doesn't really know what they're doing? So reputation is going to be vital when it comes to you staffing and manning your ship. So even though it's great to say, let me get my buds, and Kimmy, you said something earlier when you talk about logistics, about the background on people, right? What if some of your buds have criminal backgrounds and you go out with them?
We laughed about this earlier, Griff. We go to other systems, and then all of a sudden, the law's pulling us over, or someone's pulling us over. We found out maybe somebody on the crew had a outstanding something that they did, and we're like, hey, we're going to drop 2 bottles of water on the floor, grab them, pick them up, and we're letting the people know you're getting floated to the port side of the ship. Because we don't want that kind of trouble. Yeah. And so it would behoove you to understand or have that conversation ahead of time. Okay, we're going on this mission. Is everyone clean? What's the old saying? Are you riding dirty?
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Kelosal? You're right.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have not only just the pilot and the co-pilot, but you have 2 tractor beams.
Yes.
On that ship. I don't know if that ship has any drones. I don't think it has any drones.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yes. The
Reclaimer has drones.
The Reclaimer. Wait. The Reclaimer's drone. It has. You know that second room when you come in the back where the elevator is, when you go up, remember there's that drone room. That's
right. There's a drone room in the Reclaimer. Okay. All right. So yeah, you're going to have those people on the ship. And just like, you talk about people who's not doing what they should know how to do, then you're going to have to play amongst us on that ship. That's just that simple. They're going to have to be banded or thrown out, because that's once again, that is a float about that ship. They all float down here,
all can float,
because that's a lot of money. But as far as major logistics on that ship, like you saw one of the videos that Star Citizen put out. As a matter of fact, it was in Squadron 42. Was that a reclaimer that was tearing apart that ship when the
Starfare, when it came up, when the Cloud,
right. When the Gladiuses or Gladiuses were riding through and they were asking questions.
Yep.
So, did you see anybody else with them? Did you see anybody in any other ships? No. It was just them, that ship, and that crew. So, it may not take a major logistics with that crew, but for the most part, and they made a comment about legitimate salvage. For the most part, The other thing that I think is going to have to play in, which is exactly what I think Olefty is saying, is reputation. Because she said we have jurisdiction to take down this ship in here.
Right.
So that's going to definitely play into that.
Okay.
Oh, Kelosal, you leave some food on the table. I want to highlight a great statement you said. I want to highlight this and emphasize this because you said something really, really cool. The fact of the trailer, Squadron 42, and it showed that the Reclaimer was out there in the black, just doing things, and it was not protected. So going forward, logistically speaking, 07 to the Montreal, Canada studio, the Planetary Tech Team. Can you imagine when we'll see 10, 50, and eventually 100 systems? You're going to have these type of ships that will take that travel time to go out to these remote, far out places in the persistent universe, knowing that there's no one over here to do their business.
That's a good point. And to your point,
thank you, Kelosal.
And to your
bring that out.
And to your point, hang on a second, guys. I just got a message from. Okay, no problem. To your point, how are you guys going to handle the logistics in chat? You guys can jump in on this question. Dig, I see you're here. If you want to jump in, just come on in Discord. I got you set up. Here's my question to you guys on logistics. How are you going to handle deep space missions? I've heard some of you guys say, I'm going to get in my carrick, and when I go in space, I'm going to stay out there. Is that the way your crew's going to feel? Is your crew going to want to do that along with you? If you decide you want to stay out in space for a week, how are you going to handle the logistics of that?
I think, well, once again, planning. Okay. The number one thing in logistics is you have to plan.
Okay.
And your crew better well know what's going on in terms of where you're going to be, how long you're going to be there, and all hands on deck and who's going to be on deck. You may have to set up rotational schedules if you're planning to be on a Carrack, which is an exploration ship, which is designed for long stays out in space. Okay. So, and plus you got bigs. I mean, the game allows the people to go ahead and jump into them, log out, come back on, you right down that Carrack. So once again, that goes into planning. You got to planning and expectations. Let your crew know what's going on. Let them know that they're going to be out here. We may be out here on this day for this long. So if you're willing to stay out here, go ahead and jump aboard. But letting you know this is how long we're going to be. You don't just, so I mean, that's the good thing about multi-crew crew. You got to go ahead and if you're going to be in ships like that that are designed for that type of stay, and don't forget, you do have a ship, a little sub ship that you can snuff ship that you can go ahead and use those people to go ahead and get what they need to get throughout the system. So it's not like anybody just staying at that ship. You know, the captain may stay or what have you, but you still got people rotating, doing other things outside of the ship, going to different planets, bringing in whatever they need to bring in, or setting things up for your ship to come in after they've secured the area.
Wow.
Right?
Okay. I'm just asking this because this is going to be a factor. There are some people, like, you know, when we played Eve, in Eve, you always had to return to a dock. Right at the end of the game, you always return to dock, and Star Citizen is going to give us the flexibility of not having to do that. We can log out in a bed, but at the same time, you know, and the reason why I'm asking this is, you know, we can talk about logistics in the sense of how are you preparing. And we talked about this a little bit before the show, gang. Logistics covers some other aspects that I think maybe some of us haven't thought about yet. We've talked about AI blades in relation to operating certain things on a ship when we're doing a mission. But AI blades also step in as stand-ins for when you lose a crew member. So let's say that Kimmy and Kelosal and I are doing a mission, and as Kimmy always says, we go down to that planet and we get B-slapped, right? And Kelosal ends up dying. Kelosal dies, right? So now Kelosal is dead. That's one less crew member on our ship, and that space that he was occupying may have been a turret position, or it may have been the co-pilot. That AI blade. Now you've got to buy blades and have those in reserve, so in case you lose someone on a ship. Okay, I'm going to change gears real quick. We just got Dig that to join us. Hey, Dig, how are you, buddy?
Hey, how you doing?
We're doing good, man. We're doing good. You're coming in at just the right time. We are going to change gears in logistics now and start talking about mining in particular. Mining is the extraction of valuable minerals or other geological materials from the earth, usually from an ore body, lode or vein or seam, reef or placer deposit. These deposits form a mineralized commodity that is of economic interest to the miner. And we're going to talk about 2 sample ships. The first one, I know you're going to laugh when I show you, but it's on the screen. Let's talk about the rock.
That statement.
Let's talk about the rock.
Say the Earth.
Well, okay, thank you.
A moon or a planet.
A planet, right? Thank you. I told you this was generic. I told you it was generic terms. Okay, so
I'm messing with you, man.
I know. So let's talk about the rock, guys. Mobile mining, and we've got this new things going on with caves, being able to take these into caves now, as well as on the surface of moons and planets, like Kimmy said. What's the deal with these as far as security goes? Is it safe to go out by yourself and kind of do your thing because they're so small and maybe unnoticeable? Or do you think that if you're hitting some really good minerals, there needs to be some type of security detail with these guys? Let me go with Kimmy, then Dig That, then Kelosal.
Okay, I thought you were going to go with Dig That, but
I'm trying. He's just got here. I'm trying to let him get in and get a little bit. Mm-hmm.
So hit me with the question.
The question is that something as simple as a rock, small vehicle, right? Is this something that people can go out in and feel safe in when they're mining and not have to worry about anything? Or is it something that, or maybe if you've got a bunch of them mining, maybe you do need to think about bringing a security detail with you. What are some of the logistics of taking this out?
I mean, and we got to keep it in the context of where Star Citizen is. And so if I'm gonna look at it as though we've gotten things further ahead. I'm always looking at Star Citizen built out. And no, I'm not going to feel safe. As Griff talked about, you got the Yetis out there. You got possibly the eye parasite in the helmet. I don't think that's just fun with them. That could be a thing. They don't do stuff just to do it. But these apparent creatures, you want to scout these areas, but then sometimes you just say, hey, I'm just gonna go mining. Bad planning. Logistics is about planning. You could probably run up on a group of pirates that's on the run, and I mean actual people are saying, hey, how did you find this place? And they're saying it amongst themselves, and they don't need witnesses or people to know where they are. And bad place, bad time, wrong place at the wrong time.
Okay.
So you want to know, you want to understand that what is this area? What's native to this particular system, and then you go in with initially with the mindset that you're going to run into or encounter the unknowns. So you don't go all in saying I got my rock, and you're going to prepare. So no, you don't go in with the assumption that I'm just going to mine.
Yeah, a good point.
The unexpected.
Yeah, good point. Dig, let me throw this at you. On this picture that's on the screen right now, we've got this rock coming out of the back of a cutlass. And quite often some people may go out solo like that, right? They'll pilot their ship, they'll get in the rock and leave their ship behind. But later on, as things get more populated and more involved, and even as Kimmy mentioned, even something as simple as predators, things of that nature. But do you think people are going to start working more as teams? Like I'm in the rock and you're kind of in the cutlass holding things down in case I need to be extracted.
GG.
I know. What do you think, Dig, as far as logistics on that? Do you think this is going to make more people have to play together versus solo play?
I think that's going to be ideal. If you can have somebody watch back, then yeah, definitely do it. Are people going to do it? I don't know, because the rock is it makes some good money, but it makes some good money for a solo person when you gonna have to pay security, because otherwise, I don't know, too many people just want to hang out while you mining up and making money. If you're gonna have to take payroll into account, then I think it might stay like right now, man. Okay. It's just not. It's profitable, but not so much that you can just start paying security to run with you. Okay. And Kelosal. Oh, Sethius. Oh my God, Sethius, come on. You got to be kidding me. Oh my God.
Ow! I feel good.
Wow.
Oh, guys, Sethius just gifted 25 subscriptions. 25 subscriptions. That is insane. Seth, stop. And thank you.
What is going on
Thank you,
tonight?
thank you, thank
Seth.
you.
Seth.
Oh my God.
What does that mean? I'm a Twitch noob, man.
Yeah, in other words, he gave gift subscriptions to 25 people that are watching the show, and those are like $5 a piece, you know. So yeah, exactly.
Oh
so he just dropped $125 in gift subscriptions.
Oh,
Dude, thank you, Seth.
That's dope.
You're so crazy. Thank you, man.
It's so crazy.
We got to listen to James Brown 25 times now. That's the kicker. All right.
Brown's about to burn up.
Yeah,
You might have to have a picture of James Brown just winking.
I know. Yeah, that's about
Stay down in the split, James. Just stay down.
That's about it. Really, just keep them in the split. You're right.
Just say good.
Yeah, that might have to be the move. All right, let's change the gears here and go to the granddaddy of mining.
Oh boy.
The Orion.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Granddaddy.
yeah. Who amongst us owns an Orion?
Nothing
Not
to
us,
see
the
here,
black
people.
guy.
Nobody owns an Orion.
Yes, and yes.
Okay, I own one too. So you and I own one.
Hello, big
Yeah.
time miner. That was one of those. As soon as that ship
You
came
are.
available, I
Yes.
waited a whole year to save up for that
Wow.
What's the loaners for that, man?
ship. Huh? Who?
What's the loaners for that?
Oh, that's a good question.
You get a mole, and you get something else too. A mole and a prospector. A mole and a
rock,
prospector.
maybe?
No,
I
a
don't
mole
know.
and a prospector. You get a mole and a prospector.
They need to throw a carrot on that.
Now
How
let me.
much was it?
Well, the price changed on it. Originally, the Orion was something like 250 or 275. Then it went up to 350. Now it's like 5, I think, something like that. It's just changed.
Double.
So
I can confidently say that the Orion gameplay is going to be so in depth. I mean, we're not going to get anything behind in that regard. We're going to see some amazing gameplay with this ship.
let
We
me
haven't seen anything yet.
let me already thank you so much for the gift subscription that you gave. Ito-san, thank you for the follow. Vitamin999, thank you for the follow as well. We thank all of you guys so much for your following
About this
Yeah,
community.
thanks, guys.
and the subscriptions. Let me say this about the Orion. I'm going to give this disclaimer again, guys. This is another one of those ships, just like the Banu, that was done pre-concept or pre-Matrix. And as we already know, they've shown us that the Orion has grown now. In fact, the Orion is larger. It's either just short of or just past the Hull E. And the Hull E used to be the longest ship.
I love large ships, man. I'm telling you.
So it has
He's
grown
loving it.
in size. Now, mind you,
It's
some people may still have it at the original price. And if you do, just like the 890 and other ships, that's great if you got it at the lower price, but the ship has grown. I know you guys can't hear. I'm sorry, Shai. You got to blame Sethius for this. This is his fault that you can't hear me. Okay. There we go. Noobly Noob, thank you so much for the follow. Thank you. Okay, so the end of James. Yeah, it is. So this ship has grown now. It used to be 170 meters, but it has grown way beyond that now. It is a capital class ship. Cargo capacity on it is 384, minimum crew of 4, maximum crew of 7. I want to springboard off something that Kimmy said a few minutes ago about the Orion. He talked about the gameplay for it. The Orion is going to be definitely a ship that is specialized. The logistics of who's on your ship working on this one is going to be very important. If you get a chance to visit the original concept page for the Orion, if you guys go there, they have examples of what each position is going to be doing on this ship. You have someone who's operating a laser, someone who is scanning the type of rocks that you're using. You have the pilot. There's a refinery area on the ship, and I think there's 1 or 2 other positions. I mean, these are exclusive positions that people are going to be working on this ship, and they need to know what they're doing. Even a pilot navigating a ship as large as an Orion through an asteroid belt will be no small task.
Oh my god!
And this is definitely one of those ships, as Kelosal mentioned earlier, that is when you go out to deep space, this isn't the ship you get in and go out for a half hour and play. When you go out with this ship, you're out there for a while. So Since you own one, Kelosal, what are some of the logistics you've thought about, when you think about operating a ship like this?
I mean, she's a beast. You're gonna have to know what you're doing. You're gonna have to know how to mine that use that laser for the mining. You're gonna have to know how to use the claw that they have with that. I like to go out with people who like, I find it funny, but then when you're mining, especially out in the asteroid belts where a lot of the rare resources are going to be, I mean, the intent was that the prospector was supposed to be able to mine out on the surfaces and mine your general components, your general ore, but couldn't mine the hardcore mineable ones out in the asteroid field. That was for the Orion or the Mole.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I hope they're still going through that, because that basically shows you that, yeah, you can start off with the prospector, but if you want the real big or valuable ones, you might want to go ahead and move up. So go ahead and use the prospector while you're starting off, but you might want to move up to that Mole or the Orion if you want the big dollars, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was the intent. So you're going to need qualified people, because now when you get out to that asteroid field and you're sitting out there, it does. I think it does have drones.
Yes, it does, and they're big.
It does have drones in that ship. They're huge drones, so you need somebody to operate that. You need somebody to operate the laser. You need somebody to operate the claw. You need other people to make sure it's got a refinery on board. This ship is going to need protection because she only moves forward and backwards. In terms, so it's not like she can turn around real quick and say, "Ooh, hold on, there's another ship. Give me a second."
All right, so I got a question. I got a question to that. I got a question to that now. So, are these ships that you have to worry? What is it you have to worry about with these ships when you're talking about ships like this large? Is it piracy? I mean, in the sense of taking your ship, or what is it that is the fear for this? I mean, I know you're going to have the people in space who are just going to shoot at something because it's a target. But I think that, I don't know if that's going to be the case, because taking down a ship like this, I mean, we've seen people having difficulties taking down an 890 right now. What is it going to take these ships down is going to be no small task. And you got to show up. You got to show up with some serious firepower to take out an Orion. So my question is, what's the threat? And I'm not saying there isn't a threat. I'm just kind of curious. What is the threat you're seeing for ships that are in this scale?
Money.
In the sense of taking your stuff or taking the ship with your stuff?
Both. I mean, you got, if you really consider in terms of piracy that this ship is worth the value of whatever you claim it's worth, then it's going to be the cargo first. And we know, I don't think you can pilfer the cargo off of this. So you're going to have to literally go and take the ship. You're going to have to disable it and take the ship, and then take whatever you want on it. And you better hope and pray that ship has refined all of its unstable resources. That's the case.
Nordive and Anfrap, thank you guys for the follow. Thank you so much.
Guys.
Y'all.
So yeah, if they're coming on here, I mean, I don't. They are putting in the game where you got those cargo containers now that should be able to handle unstable material. Will that be available for pirates when they come on, when they try to go ahead and take ships like these? Can they take the components? Can they take those ores out of the system before it's refined? I don't know, but you're going to more than likely, when you see a ship like this, you're going to have to answer the question: is it worth taking?
Right.
So yeah, this ship is going to be. I got a sense that this ship is going to be very well armored, and that's why a lot of people now in the game, that I see them all the time, where the miners shouldn't be able to shoot you with their mining lasers. If this ship is able to hit you with one of those mining lasers, one shot, kaboom, and I'm going to smile at every piece that comes off of that ship. So
I agree.
You're gonna need some type of logistics, at least defense, Griff. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Let me ask Dig that a question, because he missed this question earlier. Dig, if you get hired to go out on the ship, right? Let's say you're good at piloting. Let's just say you're good at piloting. Are you going to expect the person that contracts you to provide the things you need to be on that ship, such as food, water, things of that nature, even medical supplies, or are you going to assume that you got to bring that stuff yourself if you're going to be on a ship like this?
I don't think it's crazy to ask the person to provide these things, but I think that's got to measure up with the pay. If I'm bringing some stuff, just like if I'm going out to shoot something like a film, if I'm bringing my camera and all that stuff, I better be racked up My wallets better be on Prager's by the time I leave this thing.
Okay.
But I think it's reasonable, but I mean, you have to pay.
Okay. That'll be part of the compensation. Okay, I got you. Okay, let's move on to our next one. If you would, Kimmy, would you go ahead and read the one for piracy, please?
Oh boy, this is a big one. All right.
Moses Sith, thank you for the follow.
Moses Sith.
I love that last name. Last part, Sith.
Seth. Yep.
Yeah, he would.
In the context of piracy, an act of robbery, criminal violence, by a ship or ships or boat-borne attackers upon another ship or coastal area, typically with the goal of stealing cargo and or other valuable or goods that are on that ship. Here's the sample ships, and the manufacturer has gotten a bad name. Drake, any and all associated with Drake.
Yeah, I was just being funny. I was just being funny.
That's coming from an origin guy. He's gonna lay it down. He's gonna lay the peanut butter on heavy.
Yeah, I'm just picking on Drake, guys. And it could be, we know piracy could happen with any ship, but I am going to just use this as a particular thing. So my question, and this is a different question. Let me start with Dig on this one. Dig, when it comes to piracy, what do pirates need to worry about logistically? When they're going to go in to go take a ship or take whatever's on a ship, what are some of their considerations that they need to be thinking about when they're getting ready to go in and do some form of piracy?
They gotta have some equipment ready to go. They got the breaching tool or whatever it's called that's coming up. They're gonna need to have some of that on deck. They're gonna have to have some firepower. They're gonna have to have the ships that are big enough to carry away the haul. Like if you're going after that Orion, man, you're gonna have to have what's the big you're gonna need a Herc, you need a Herc Star Lifter to carry all that stuff. Tractor beams ready to go. I mean, you're gonna have to have a fleet. That's like an org action to take something down, like an Orion. Interesting. Kelosal, any thoughts on piracy? What do other considerations that pirates need to think about? I know we've talked about, Kimmy mentioned this earlier, reputation. I mean, what are some things that you have to think about if you're going to do piracy?
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna skip to step 5, which is learn from your mistakes, because it's gonna be a major mistake if you think that you're gonna go ahead and run up against one of those types of ships without any types of plan or contingency plan set up. I mean, like I said, you got to make a solid plan for that. You got to be able to have exactly what Dig Dak said in terms of the type of components that's gonna be able to take down that ship in an efficient manner. Other than that, you're wasting, just like we heard, remember, way out when we talked about the Pirate series last year. With the Pirate Show, they we're talking about their gameplay and how it was in contrast to Grievers, right? And their main thing, the guy sat there and said, I forgot his name, I apologize, but he sat there and said one of the things that piracy is all about is it worth the time, effort, and money? Okay, a true pirate org is not going to attack.
It's about money, right? It's about profit.
Unless the profit is solid. So I think that if you're going to go ahead and do something like that in terms of piracy, you better have a solid plan to get you in and out.
I would say sometimes it's not just about money though. Sometimes piracy is as attractive just for the sake of pirating somebody. I know that happens in Elite Dangerous. Not everybody's about that fettuccine Alfredo. They just want to get it done. Like my buddy Exegius, he's a big Elite Dangerous YouTuber. He calls himself a gentleman pirate because he'll I forget what you call it. He'll take somebody out of what we call quantum, and then he'll demand like a very small amount of their cargo just for the experience. So I don't.
But he's doing more of a role play. But he's still doing more of a role play. He's still doing a form of role play though.
Right, he's still asking. At the end of the day, he's still asking for some bit of money. At the end of the day, so money has always been the sense, the thing for piracy. It's always been that. Always. So
there is, without an exchange of some money, there really is no piracy. So I understand that.
Well, without an exchange of money, you're right. There's no piracy. It's only grievance. It's only grieving people.
Yeah,
that's what you get next after that. Because now, what's your point of doing that? So that was that thin line.
And I am curious as to whether or not Star Citizen will create what Dig That is suggesting, because personally that's what I really want to come to Star Citizen as. I've been through enough games of just being target practice for the sake of target practice, or for the sake of being on a leaderboard. I really want to go into the universe with those type of challenges, where if I'm being challenged, I'm not saying somebody has to, do this 100% role play, but I do like the idea that there's purpose and meaning behind whatever takes place, and that there are repercussions for it. I don't mind getting pirated as long as I have an avenue to put a bounty on that person, right? Or something along those lines that counters what they're doing, or that there's a law system, or that if I go into unlawful space, I understand that that's the consequences of me going into unlawful space, and I ain't gonna get mad about it because I went to unlawful space. Kimmy, I want to go back to something here. You talked about this earlier about the Kraken, and you talked about the fact that it had the repair area, the ship area, and on this picture on the screen, it's showing the area where they've got like the dragonflies and the yellow jackets. Logistically, are people thinking about, do you think people are actually thinking about what it's going to cost to equip their ships to do real missions in the game? A lot of people run around with stock stuff. I hear a lot of people worrying about what weapons they're going to have on their ships. But are people thinking about everything from components to medical supplies to food? I mean, are people thinking about that yet in the sense of stocking their ships?
Well, right now in the state of what Star Citizen is, I would have to say I would have to give a healthy no.
Okay.
It's not that they're not going to play that way. It's just that the game doesn't offer that. But as I'm thinking of how the game is played and going forward, in the concept of how it's to be played, some of us will learn. It's a bit of wisdom, and then it's a bit of knowledge, or the school of hard knocks. Situations will happen where you will take on a mission, and then you run into some difficulties in that mission, and then you'll try to bounce back after the fact. But with the reputation system, as it really takes a look at who you are and monitors your progress through these missions, expect your missions to become more complex and more involved. And so you don't just, take that one mission or have those several strung together as successes to say that this is how Star Citizen is going to be played out each and every time. As they know who you are in that reputation system, it also says that you're going to be challenged. So it's a double-edged sword. Oh, you're the best of the best. You're a 5 rated. You're 5-star rated, and people are looking at you like, wow. But then they don't realize what it took for you to get there. And then, personally speaking, you have to maintain that. And at some point, there won't be no 5-star, logistically speaking, players in that context, because the reputation will look to fluctuate you down.
It'll fluctuate. Okay, good point. All right, guys, I'm going to skip that next category for bases and stuff, and I'm just going to drop down into medical. Kelosal, could you read the one for medical, please?
Sure, absolutely. Well, in terms of medical, basically when you're dealing with medical, you're talking about emergency medical responders are people who are specially trained to provide out of hospital care in medical emergencies. There are many different types of emergency medical responders, each with different levels of training, ranging from first aid and basic life support. So some tips that we're going to show you are the Cutlass Red, and one of my favorite, I consider this the dark horse of all ships, the Endeavor.
So Apollo.
Okay, cool. So Kimmy, guys, we can only cover so many ships, guys. Come on. So Kimmy, let me ask you a question now. What does a person who's running a Cutlass Red got to worry about on logistics? What is their concern now? And I'm not talking about somebody who's going after like an org member or a friend. I'm talking about the person who's freelancing, doing medical. What are some things that they've got to take into consideration when they're going out? Because on this picture here, you see 3 Cutlass Reds heading somewhere. Give me some thoughts about what they've got to worry about logistically.
Probably the people they tried to rescue and they did a hack job on, and they put a hit on them for screwing them up. Ended up with a cybernetic leg or a cybernetic eye, and they're like, screw this, man. I paid you and you gave me a hack job. I'm coming after you.
Running a chop shop, floating chop shop. Okay.
Yeah, somebody's coming from behind them, coming to attack them. They're running from people based on that picture. They did a hack job.
Okay.
Didn't have the facilities.
Fair enough.
But yet they took on a job.
Okay, fair enough.
Devil the spaceman, you got me screwed, man. I got one arm and two legs.
Colossals, what do you see as far as logistics? Anything that they need to worry about when they're responding to stuff?
I mean, they probably should take into consideration the laws of that area. And obviously these people will have the reputation to serve that area. So that's those two go hand in hand. I don't think anybody would be able to be in any types of service roles like that without having a reputation that requires them to serve in that capacity. Okay.
And Dig, let me ask you this: will these people be treated? A little while back, I was going to write up something on Spectrum, but I figured I just get a lot of hate mail in regard to this. In real world. There are, there's, what's the term I'm trying to think of? Help me out, chat. The term that says that when you're doing medical stuff, people have to leave you alone. In the real world, in war, right?
It's wartime.
But there's a term that I can't think of what it's called. And please forgive me, guys. No, not triage, Lefty. That basically says that you don't mess with the medical people because they're it's kind of like the Good Samaritan thing, but it's that. In other words, you don't blow up an ambulance. You know what I mean? Even though they're moving people back and forth. Geneva Convention. Thank you, Seth. See, that's the man to ask right there. Jesus.
The Geneva Convention.
Okay, the Geneva Convention. And it would be great if something like that existed in the game, because I actually came up with a gameplay mechanic that says when an ambulance or like a Cutlass Red or an Apollo is en route to somebody, that it is vulnerable, that you can attack it en route. But if a ship is scanned and there is somebody who's injured, then if you decide to attack it, you have done a form of violation of a Geneva Convention, which means that you take now a criminal stat because you've damaged somebody who's being returned because they're injured, right? That was like a mechanic I thought would be great. And I don't think people are going to play by a Geneva Convention in this game, unfortunately. But my question becomes, you talked about reputation of the ambulance person, Kelosal did. Dig that. What about the reputation of the person you're picking up? Do you think that people will treat ambulance drivers as neutral? In other words, this guy's coming to pick me up, thank God. Or this guy's coming to pick me up, I'm gonna pop him in the head right before we get to the station and take his ship. How do you think people will respond to when they call to get medical help like that?
I mean, it's a little different than the real world because, you're picking up people that have gone from combatants to non-combatants. They're not functional no more. They're out of the game. In Star Citizen, you fix somebody up, they're right back in the fight. So I kind of got to go with those are fair targets, man. It's all fair game. If they fix somebody up and then that person they fixed up then got you at the end of their barrel, it ain't a good look.
So logistically, do these people need to have a security person, right? They like right now there are 2 beds on the Cutlass Red, right? Do they need to have somebody in the back with a gun? And that doesn't allow people, for example, to come up to the cockpit area. They've got to stay in that rear area of the ship. If you start walking this way, I'm going to pop you. You know what I mean? Because mind you, medical beds are going to change, right? We know that there are the different levels and tiers of the beds and how people are injured. But but my question is, what does this person have to worry about? If I'm going out there to help people, and mind you, I'm going to get paid, right? I'm 50, whatever the credits are, 100 credits if I pick you up and drop you off, or something, 1,000 credits, whatever. And that's why I wonder: are people going to leave these folks alone and say, "Hey, man, these people are rendering service for us. We don't want to get a bad reputation," or are people going to, not care?
First of all, you're not going to send an Apollo or a Cutlass Red out in the midst of a battle. That's just
unless it's org related. Unless it's org related, you might.
Well, good luck on that. Because even you're sending those ships out for a suicide mission, they're gonna get popped, right?
And that was why I was talking about the Geneva Convention. That's why I was talking about that, because under Geneva Convention you couldn't shoot those ships. So, but now you think that people are just going to do it to win the tide, turn the tide of the battle, that they'll just blow those ships up.
Right. Usually there's some type of system where it's like a delayed, nobody fights. So, it's like a little white flag. Come get your dead, right? Or come get your wounded. And that's usually when those types of shit or those types of services are rendered. So they come out here with that type of I got reverberations in my ear. Somebody's got a mic open.
I think it's Dig. It's Dig.
Yeah.
There you go.
So they come out there right when there's the all clear on both sides that has been established, and so that's part of the logistics. You don't just go out there when guns are still shooting, talking about, wait, I got to get this person. No, it's going to be, don't know who you are, you're getting shot. So so they come out there with that, and then the other thing is we talked about criminal stats, right? So let's say you're getting somebody who does have a criminal stat, obviously. So maybe you could remember in the medical phase with Star Citizen, I believe you can't just heal somebody like that and they're back out in the field. Depending on the medical bed, it may take 15 minutes, 20 minutes. It may take an hour for them to appropriately heal. So by that time, you've already gone back to where you're going back to. They've been inoculated, right? They're knocked out in their bed. Because I believe the Apollo has a little bed that goes out and picks them up and comes on back. So that may be another logistics that comes into gameplay. Because the Apollo actually doesn't have to go way out to get that person. They can stop someplace out and send that bed out to go get them.
Yeah.
Right. So now they're coming back, and then when you come back, you may have those police officers or to take them into custody, move them from the medical bed once you've rehabilitated them, depending on the time period, and now you've moved them into that Cutlass Blue for detainment.
Okay.
I shudder to think that you'll have organizations that could have such a rivalry against each other that they would decimate one group, and then they'll wait for the medical crew to come to pick them up and then take them out, just to make them do Death of the Spacemen to that extent.
War of attrition,
I
baby.
shudder to think that.
Yeah. No, Dig's right. I mean, there are people that's the way they're going to do it. There are, and so that's going to be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what they kind of create for that. Let's step up our game a little bit here, and let me go to Kelosal first, then Dig. I'm sorry, Kelosal, then Kimmy, then Dig. In the Endeavor, and I'm going to Kelosal first because he owns one of these. Some of you all know. So Kelosal, I own one, and Kelosal, we both own one. So here's my question. There is a configuration of the Endeavor called the Hope class, which is the medical ship. It's the medical version of this ship. What's the deal with this? Is this going to be target? I mean, it's a durable ship. This thing is supposed to be designed to be able to withstand meteor showers. So that says that the Endeavor is not something that's just going to be easily taken out, right? Are you going to have a hovering, some combat ships that are constantly around this thing? Because, and for those of you who don't know how this operates, supposedly, if I'm remembering correctly, when someone needs medical attention on this ship, you will be able to grant them permission to get on the ship and get medical attention. But what does that entail, Kelosal? If there's one, when we had, I can't think of the Lady Grace, when we had her org on, when we were talking about role-playing orgs, she said that their org's entire job is to render medical services in the universe to both the good and bad people. They are neutral, but they will respond to anybody who asks for help. So if you're running an org like that, Kelosal, what are the logistics that they need to worry about if they're helping servicing both good and bad people?
I mean, reputation could always be a thing. You need to make sure that both sides understand who you are.
Okay,
that's one thing. The other thing is, if you're talking about that type of a ship coming in to that type of game, usually you're going to see these types of ships embedded in a fleet somewhere towards the back, right? They're a capital ship somewhere back there, and these ships are going to have. One thing I love about the Endeavor is she's modular. And she gets to detach, and she is a tank. You would be a fool to go after this ship. I mean, she is a beast in space, and she also has a landing bay, which they could send out a Cutlass Red. They could send out an Apollo
and move people, shuttle people,
bay, right? And they go ahead and bring those people in and things like that. So this ship is going to be well protected. It's usually going to be within a fleet. No matter what fleet it is, and it's always going to come in at the last, even if it's by itself, like one of those organizations that say all we do is just render help. Those types of services aren't going to come in and just sit by and just say, okay, we're watching, we'll wait, because the battle could last 15 minutes, it could last 12 hours. Right? We've seen those Eve battles. So so obviously this ship has to set up the premise on what their role is, who knows about them, and when they are able to come in. So logistics comes in with communication on their part, I believe.
Okay. To answer your question, Moses Sith, yes, it is considered a deep science ship. One of the things that I didn't know about this, I knew it had a med bay because I kept hearing people talk about med bay. It's a hospital. It's 3 floors. It is huge. This ship is one of the largest ships in the game. And again, let's go back to that waiver I talked about earlier. This is another ship that was pre-metrics. In other words, they didn't have the metrics for the ships at the time when they designed this. All they had was a concept drawing and a general idea. And every ship that was pre-metrics has grown in the game. And I guarantee you, this ship is huge. It will be javelin sized, probably. It is a big ship. Okay.
It was revealed at DragonCon in Atlanta. Ben Lesnick revealed it.
And at that time, they did not have metrics. So like we said, if we look at the history of all the other sets, come on, Griff, get the master set. You know, I bought the master set. Ops Chief, you know I got the master set. I got it at the last sale. Kelosal talked me into. In fact, Kelosal was the one that talked me into it. And we will tell you guys this, that the Endeavor was increased to fit the Apollo into the hangar for the hospital. Thank you, Lefty, for that. So again, it's growing. It is no, it's not in buyback. I've got it. I never did trade it in, so I do have it. This ship is definitely it's multifunctional. It has all these different modules. I think like 7 different modules or 8 different modules, a collider and a whole bunch of other stuff. But to Colosal's point, Kelosal, you mentioned a good point that a ship like this is usually in some type of convoy, usually in the back where it's less vulnerable. Kimmy, let me ask you, do you see a ship like this as who's the ship for? That's basically what I ask you. You know, who's going to, because the logistics on this are crazy. I mean, you can do all these different configurations and stuff. But who is this ship for? Is it org or single person civilian? You know, what do you see the ship being for?
Multiple people, groups. It goes across the board. Really, though, it's for your wannabe Leonard Nimoy / Spocks in game, who's just purely science. It is for the orgs. It is for the case points of these service type ships that provides an actual service that help keep things generating economically and health wise of the state of the persistent universe. So these are key essential ships. So it provides because this is probably the most unique ship in game, hands down, no comparables to it. So it does provide avenues for everyone, whether it's the individual with his crew, NPCs / human. I'm not even gonna go there with the server blades with this type of ship, but then also the complement, like you alluded to, Griff and Kay and Dig, about the interaction of other personnel like the Apollos and the Cutlass Reds. But again, it can change gears to the extent that they're totally different in the regards of how they serve people in the game, where you're going to find people in the Endeavor that's just hospital, purely just science, using the super collider and finding artifacts, just a sense of discovery and science as well, exploration. I see this as the Carrick's big brother.
Okay.
But it is so unique in the sense of its concept. So I think a lot of things have to come into play as far as development for this ship. It's going to take a while.
Yeah.
I honestly and truly believe it's going to take a while for this to get developed out because those assets have to be a part of the game and they have to be working. So, but when it's all said and done, it's going to be well worth it because this particular ship is set apart, so far apart from all the essentials. But yeah, it's for everyone. It's everyone, but it's going to challenge you to take advantage of what it provides to the persistent universe. So yeah,
Cool.
It's going to be interesting.
Okay.
Can I say one more thing about
Sure.
that ship?
Sure.
Just one thing. I'm sorry, and Kimmy made some very good points. The other thing that I also want to add in addition to that is she's detachable. This ship,
Mhm.
the main part of the ship can detach. Now
Right.
imagine you talk about logistics. Imagine if you put aside the Cutlass Red and you pull aside the Apollo,
Mhm.
and the main part of the ship, the Endeavor, can detach to bring you back more people than both of those ships.
True. Yeah.
Imagine that. So it's a win-win. I think she's the dark horse of all the ships.
I feel good.
And they said that there are multiple ideas that they have for her modularity. I just think it's the dark horse of the fleet.
Okay.
Just be patient.
Already.
That's the only thing I can say. Be patient
Yeah.
with this ship and its development.
Arid ZX, thank you for the 1 month subscription.
Oh,
Smoogles,
Sam.
thank you for the follow. And Ops Chief, thank you for the 1 month gift that you gave as well. Let me ask one last question to Dig that. Dig, the picture that you see in front of you has biodomes on it. Do you think that any growing materials inside of there will require security?
First of all, you disrespected my ship, the Bad New Merchantman, saying that Orion's the most unique thing in the verse.
Dig is
I don't
not a
understand what you
dig
saying.
is
Man.
not a
I'm gonna
dig.
take it as disrespect.
dig is not a dig. No, you stick to the cargo and goods. Dig. This thing creates pharmaceuticals. It can.
And that's my question. That's my question to him right now. I want to know about the pharmaceuticals. Let Dig answer the question. Will the pharmaceutical
Yeah,
growing
don't
on this
defer,
ship? Yeah, will the pharmaceutical
Stick with
growing
the
of this
question.
ship require security?
Yeah, I see how y'all treat me. First, y'all put that picture of me looking like the Unabomber up there, and then you're gonna disrespect my BMM. All right. Yeah, man. Any ship,
Dig is moving widow. That's
ship with anything valuable is going to require some security. I don't know what kind of shields is lined up for that thing. You talk about it's supposed to sustain a meteor shower, so it'll be able to handle this. You know what? That ship will probably be able to handle its own until it can call for help. Put out a beacon.
good point.
We need some help.
Yeah.
That's a great point right there, Dig. I was aligning myself with that too, with that reputation system. Once you have that camaraderie and you have that clientele, it's nothing for you to call out and say, "Hey, your next one's on me. Just get your ass over to help me out."
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, let's move on to the next category. Let's see. I'll read this one. Bounty hunting. A bounty hunter is a professional person who captures fugitives or criminals for a commission or a bounty. We're going to go from one swing to the other here with something as simple as a ship that some people like and some people don't. A Hawk. If you're bounty hunting, what do you need to worry about? Dig, let me start with you on this one. What are some things that a bounty hunter needs to be worrying about when they're going to go out for their logistics? Anything in particular? How are they preparing?
That's a tough one, especially because I'm thinking about the Hawk going out, that flimsy thing. I think I'm looking at it from the bounties, the person that's being stalked's perspective. I'm the type of dude that, like, we tried to do this. We did this the other night, go out and get a bounty on purpose just so we could bring somebody in and have our way with them, so to speak. Wait, let me say that different. That doesn't sound too good. And we could just clobber somebody. Logistically speaking, from their end, I think the best way to go in, especially if you're going after somebody on foot, is, I know the Hawk is for bounty hunting, but I would take something that can carry a vehicle so that you can park at a distance and then go in, because you don't know what they got waiting for you as soon as you get there. Other than that, you're just looking at the basic stuff: med pens, weapons, armor, that kind of thing.
Okay. Kelosal, the Hawk, is this ship a ship that's maybe good for? I mean, it's got an EMP built into it. It's supposed to be stealthy, very quick. Some issues in relation to design, particularly the fact that you can only carry one fugitive in it. But is this ship more something that's more done for, like, hunting them down versus capture? I mean, in other words, do you bring some other people, you use this ship to find them, and then maybe get some other people to help you? Or is it a one-man operation, one-woman operation?
I mean, the Hawk is probably a good ship when it's used in tandem with another ship. I mean, because I think of hawks and I think of a bird coming down, and just grabbing a fish out of the water. So she's probably good for that type of gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
She does have some powerful guns on it. So if I were anybody to talk about logistics here, I would definitely put a whole bunch of disruptors on that thing because you want to go ahead and disable the ship. Now I know they've nerfed the disruption weapons and things like that, but that was to get to Kimmy's point a while ago when he talked about certain weapons or certain things being able to be used in games. They did have some guns that were able to disable ships. The disruptor or the disruption cannon can disable your ship to the point to where it can overheat certain components. And once it overheats those components, the components deactivate because they're so hot. And you've seen ships just flip around because they're disabled. So they haven't gotten the metrics yet to say, hey, how this ship is disabled. It's going to be disabled for this long. Maybe they got this component to kind of mitigate the disabling. But distortion. Thank you. Right. It still can disable, but it's been nerfed, right? So when they actually balance everything out, imagine if you had a Hawk with those size guns with nothing but distortion cannons on it. You're coming in really quickly, and she's weak in the fact that you hit that wing, she's done. She's flipping all over the place. But she could be very good at the point to where if you got two Hawks just screeching at you like that, left, right, and sideways, one coming from one angle direction, another one coming from another, and they're all over the place at you, and they got distortion cannons, you're screwed. You're screwed. So it has its value. It does.
Okay.
Man said disruptor cannons. I'm thinking of a Klingon warbird, or was it bird of prey?
Distortion
down on somebody.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. I'm going to put this in this next one, and I'll get Kimmy to comment on this one. Lefty asked that I would show this, so I'm going to go ahead and show it. For the other ship that we look for bounty is the Cutlass Blue. Kimmy, this was another one of those ships that got a rework, and a lot of people got excited about it, particularly because they stepped up their game in relation to the cages inside to be able to put people that you've captured. Yeah, and so again, logistically, what's the deal with this? Is this we got finished watching the Mandalorian, right? And people got really inspired. The ship comes out and people say, yeah, this is going to be my Mandalorian ship. But again, what are some things that a person who's going to be bounty hunting, what do they got to do? What are some considerations for them when it comes down to, using a ship like this?
Well, the consideration is, not in the state of where Star Citizen is right now, but going forward in a realized place where we've got the back-end services working, you got the player counts happening, you have the more complex mission givers, and the fact that they mentioned that as we expand out, bounty hunting is going to be more of a thing where you're basically stacking or compiling numbers of perps. And again, the hint was those, like you alluded to, Griff, those 12 cells, holding cells. So based upon the fact that the way they're going to expand out bounty hunting, that they're going to stay on your mobiGlas. Perps are going to stay on your mobiGlas. You're going to stack missions, and you may not see them as for a while because let's say we're at 50 systems at one point. 07 to the Montreal, Canada Planetary Tech Team, 50 systems. You're going from system to system, basically doing a search, and you're just starting to stack up these perps. And so you will have to basically, kind of comb through and find detail what type of missions to take. So, like Kelosal mentioned with the Anvil Hawk, you with the missions, you want to make sure you don't get into sticky situations with these missions where you're saying, okay, I need a crew with me, or this perp right here, he did this small crime. He's small beans. I'm just going to get stack him up. But the more complex ones that you'll probably get because you have a higher or a really good reputation system, you're going to shy away from those. You're going to probably say, well, let me call up Griffin Gaming, dig that, and Kelosal. Let's all collaborate together because this is a big perp right here. Okay. So I need a couple of Anvil Hawks. I need a couple of those Cutlass Blues to do this mission. So you want to be align yourself with the type of missions that you're going out on to say, okay, I want to get the easy ones out of the way, and then logistically speaking, plan further ahead on the more complex ones, like taking down a syndicate boss and his minions.
Okay. I know when I thought about this ship, I thought about if I were to get one, because I am interested in it. I'm not big into bounty hunting. But what I did think about was I'd be more than willing to help someone else, assist someone else in a bounty hunt.
Yes.
So,
but the UI is beautiful.
Oh, don't get me wrong. It's a beautiful ship. It is. But I'm just saying,
Compared
some people.
Cutlass Black.
Right. But
I didn't
some,
notice it.
Right. But some people just like doing bounty hunting on their own. They're the solo person. I'm not that person, but I am the person. If you say, Griff, I got somebody really tough, or 2 or 3 people, I'm gonna need some help, then that's when I would jump in a ship like this and go out and assist whoever I could while they're doing that. Okay.
Agreed. I think that's gonna be a thing in game.
Yeah, the perps. Yeah, the perp walk. Get the perp walk. Yeah.
We got a perp right here.
All right.
For traders.
Yep. All right. We're on our very last category, and let's see, Kimmy, if you wouldn't mind reading the last one for us for civilian VIP.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Civilian, this is not origin based, right, Griff?
No, civilian.
I'm messing with you, man.
Oh, okay.
Civilian, very important personnel transport. All commercial, non-military aircraft, truck, motorcycles, and off-road vehicles, but excludes recreation vehicles, limousines, and mining equipment and other industrial type of ships. Our samples is the illustrious, I noticed I said illustrious, illustrious Phoenix 890 jump. No, the Phoenix, I'm sorry, the Phoenix, the Constellation Phoenix and the 890 jump. One is RSI for the Phoenix, and the other one is Origin-based ships. Yep. These are your luxury transports for people.
Yep.
Boo.
Anyway, okay, that means I'm skipping you. Dig. So tell us, let's talk about the Phoenix, right?
Oh my God.
Where the illustrious perps hang out.
Yeah, exactly. The illustrious perps, right? So we've got these different ships, and they've talked about that CIG is going to create these missions for people to run for NPCs and even real players, where they can run VIP missions or get to certain locations. They've even talked about certain locations only being able to be accessed by ships like the Phoenix or the 890 or the 600. So what's the value? And again, do these people need to worry about any form? Well, obviously, if you want VIP, there's some expectations about coming on a VIP ship, right? Like, what are people going to be looking for? And what do I need to do as an owner of this ship logistically if I want to take it out?
Have that good liquor.
You gotta get into that modularity.
Yeah, have a fully stocked bar for one, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Top shelf.
Yeah. You know what? When you in that kind of situation, you should be in contact with somebody that has a merchantman that's going out to other systems, bringing in unique goods. Got to bring up the merchantman, but bringing in some unique goods. Yeah, I don't know how much how custom we'll be able to get it, but if it's a situation where we can make change the material of stuff, like say a suede couch to leather couch or something like that, that's just kind of speculation or whatever. But yeah, you gotta be constantly reloading that ship with all the best of everything, which can get expensive. And of course you're gonna have a premium for what you charging people. But that's the type of stuff I'm really excited about, because I'm really looking forward to the Genesis Starliner. And I know that's not as top notch as the 890, but yeah, you can load it out for some luxury appeal. Yeah, and that was one of my favorite things when I was starting off in Elite Dangerous. I hate to keep going back there because we have Star Citizen, but was doing passenger runs, VIP runs
with the Orca and stuff. Yep.
Yeah, the Orca. Yeah, man. And sometimes they get a little ridiculous. Like, can you make a stop? I need 1 ton of luxury clothing or something like that. Like, what?
Yep.
We 2 jumps away from where you going.
Yep.
But yeah, man, it's just keeping it stocked with the best of the best, man.
Okay.
Atlantic ass whiskey.
Okay. Kimmy, do people have to worry about? We talked about piracy, right? We've talked about piracy, and we've talked about, and we looked at piracy from the perspective of cargo, resources, minerals, things like that. Do we have to worry about kidnappings, hostage situations?
So
hostage. Well, no, not you. But I'm saying, does a person operating a ship who's doing a VIP trip, is this something that they have to worry about, that pirates will hold somebody for hostage?
That's a
So
very
true,
interesting
Griff.
question.
I was just thinking that the fact of the matter is, if you get, basically, let's say you get what do you call the commission or there's a bid on a commission on, okay, you're gonna, between the 890s, the dignitaries want to do a tour, and then you do a bid on trying to get them, so you have to obtain a good get the best liquor, get the best of everything to accommodate them, and that could probably provide you with the commission, right? So you land the commission, but then let's say there's information that's being sent out to the comrades that said, "Oh, I'm having a party on Griff's 890 jump. Come January 15th. Come meet me there. We're gonna have a big shindig." And that information gets intercepted, and there's a plan in place to come get, to actually, what do you call it, shipjack, take over the ship, and get those dignitaries, take them as hostage, because there's a bounty that can be paid out, exchange of funds based on that. And so those are the things you have to look out for in that type of gameplay. Once we really see it expanded out, and do you provide the right amount of security inside the ship as well as outside? Maybe you have some people you might have an inside job. All of a sudden, these cats are think they're part of the party, but they're part of the pirates that's doing this type of thing. Possibly, right?
Okay, good point. Kelosal. Let's shift it to the 890. Let's go from something like the Phoenix, which seems like to be, it's only got two VIP or two rooms. It's got a master bedroom, 2 bedrooms, but it seems like maybe you'd VIP 1 or 2 people with that, or maybe it becomes a command ship for an org. The 890 jump, though, is a different animal altogether. And we've even had missions set up in Star Citizen now where we had this hostage situation where people were killed and we had to take over the ship. What are the logistics on a ship like this? I mean, the ship it's fairly formidable in the sense of its armor and components and shields. I mean, it's not where it's supposed to be, but it's a tough cookie to crack right now. What does somebody have to worry about logistically? I don't want to deal with security. I'm talking about operationally. What is it? What's going to be the work when it comes to working the logistics for a ship like an 890?
I mean, you're going to have reputation. You're going to have, if we're dismissing security for right now, you're going to have the type of resources required to meet the needs for these types of people, because you're talking about a well-suited beast of a ship that is specifically for the ultra-rich. Okay, and they're going to have needs far beyond a Genesis Starliner and far beyond a Phoenix. So you're not only talking about reputation, because now you got to jump. You got to get reputation to jump from system to system. Okay, then you're talking about fuel efficiency, because everybody knows that this ship was a gas guzzler when it first came out. This ship is not designed for long hauls. It's designed for short, exquisite excursions, right? And maybe for long ones, but you're going to have that. If you're going to go into areas where these people are going to demand that you take them because the scenic view is great, but the risk is bad, then other logistics are going to have to come in, like a security. But this ship can defend itself quite well. But let's say if this ship has been taken over, I mean, the damage that this ship can do because of its capabilities of defense is enormous.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So this ship has, in terms of logistics, they have to meet the system's logistics. They have to meet the planet's logistics. They have to have the type of resources. They have to take care of the people. I think this is a huge undertaking when you get this ship.
Yeah. Lefty said something in chat which I hadn't thought about. I've thought about it before, but I hadn't thought about it for the show, but I'm glad he mentioned it. He said that even something as simple as repairs on a luxury ship, that the cost of that needs to be equal to the value of the ship. when you look at the brochure for the ship, it has all these, these great woods and marble and all this other stuff. Well, repairing it should not be equivalent of repairing a Caterpillar.
That's true.
That the value and cost of that needs to be reflected in those repairs. Another issue that came up for many people, remember when the ship first came out, a lot of people moaned about the fuel consumption, right? Now we know that they didn't have the fuel consumption completely together, and the whole the engines weren't, recycling the way they should have been. But anybody who knows anything about yachts knows that yachts do nothing but eat money. That's all they do. They're not fuel efficient. They're not economical. That they that's what they are. Yacht owners will tell you that just turn their boat on and sit in the dock costs $7,000. So if you own one of these ships and you're thinking, oh, this should have this great, Toyota Prius fuel efficiency, you're fooling yourselves. The logistics on operating a ship like this should be also reflected. And there are going to be a lot of these ships that are going to be hangar queens, because to take them out and just to get them out the gate, just to leave atmosphere, you're going to be looking at the fuel costs and be moaning. So to your point, what are all the other amenities? I think I've joked around with you, Kelosal, about this ship. It has gun racks in it, right, for protecting the ship. 32 gun racks. It's going to cost me $80,000 just to put guns in the ship. I'm talking about just the guns that my people need to walk around with. We aren't talking about the exterior weapons or any other component upgrades, which can go into the millions when you get ready to operate a ship like this. So once you've poured all that money into a ship like this, whether it's this or a 600 or whatever, how do you protect that? Dig that. Let me ask you that. How do you protect this ship now? I've invested, the ship cost me whatever in millions. We don't know how much it's going to cost in game. But by the time I trick it out, the value might be some stupid number. Well, how do I protect my investment at that point?
By doing as many runs as you can.
Great answer. That's a great answer.
That's about it, man. You
gotta, without any hiccups.
Yeah, you got to do volume with that ship. And I know you're charging a premium price, and that should get you just well into the black. I can't see many players taking rides on that and paying that premium, because people that got that kind of money to burn, they got 890s, they got their own 890s. So I think it's going to be NPC based. And Green Eye Gal, she had said something in the comments that gonna need somebody to go around and find. You basically need not a broker, but whatever.
Oh, she said event planner. You're an event planner, she said,
event
right?
Planner. Yeah. You got to have somebody that'll be a valuable profession. Somebody that go around and find customers for you.
Yep, that was rule number 3. Hire a logistics manager.
Yeah,
logistics. Operation cost is a part of logistics, but Dig That brought up something that I wanted to dive in on, and he said it's based upon NPCs. But I hope that, Sig, if you're listening, that you allow us to create possibly virtual bar citizens on these 890 jumps, where people can get together and talk virtually on these ships and have a good time, and pay the UEC based upon, oh, this is a friend of mine's, this is his ship, but I'm going to do a bar citizen on this ship virtually. So if that can be incorporated into game, I would love that. It would really bring in that realism to the aspect of the origin.
That's a really cool idea, Kimmy, to introduce something like bar citizens, and people from around the country can meet up on ships, and maybe they earn money in the process of doing that. If any of you guys know anything about yachting, I'm talking about luxury yachting.
I heard something true.
No, I don't, sir.
I heard something true about this, and I didn't know, but I'm going to let you guys go first.
Okay. When you go on regular yachts, a lot of times people, when you're invited to go on a yacht, like let's say you're in Monte Carlo and somebody says, hey, we're having a party tonight, and you can come on the yacht. It's not that you get on that yacht for free. The person inviting you may, not charge you anything, but you are going to pay the boat tender that's going to take you out to the yacht. And quite often by the end of the night, by the time you have given that person a tip who's taking you to the yacht, a tip on the way back to the dock, given tips to the people who have served you on the boat, quite often you've spent anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 just to go to that party. And so, there's an exclusive attitude about being on certain people's ships. And that's not everybody's ships, mind you. I'm just saying there are some people that's what you pay because of who's going to be on that ship. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not luxury owners create some type of dynamic like that does allow them to pay for operating costs, pay for security, that needs to be with them when they have these VIPs on the ship. Kelosal, you and I have talked about, and I'm glad you said it, Dig, the Genesis Starliner is a ship where you are going to be rated on how you handle passengers, how those NPCs are treated. And I'm sure the same thing will happen for missions like this. So you got the logistics and hit this one last logistics. We're going to wrap the show up because I want to come off of this 890 and talk about logistics overall. One of the things we didn't talk about, I feel good. Thank you, old Lefty, again. And Lima Peck 7, thank you for the follow. I'm sorry if I missed you earlier. Thank you, old Lefty, again. Yeah, and it's sub to Xylo on top of it. Of all the people who gets it, it's Xylo. Okay, let me say this about logistics, what we didn't talk about, because we talked about it before the show.
Oh gosh, so Lefty said, "WTF? What?"
Yeah, I know.
He's hanging out.
I know of all the people.
Are we still streaming?
Yeah. Oh yeah, we are. Yeah. So let me throw this last piece in about logistics. What we didn't talk about was of sitting down and literally, Kimmy, you mentioned this earlier. You're going to have to start paying a better attention to the star map and creating your routes. You're going to have to start looking. Let me finish. You're going to also have to start talking about, you mentioned the Galactopedia earlier, doing your homework on where you're going, the going into the system or the planet or moon you're landing on. Is it safe? Do I need to bring exterior security, people who have to stay with the ship or protect us when we're trying to get from one location to another? There are logistics in the sense of, we talked about food, we talked about medical supplies, fuel costs, getting back and forth. If you have escorts, are there places you have to stop on your way to getting where you're going to go? So all we're trying to expand on with this logistics piece is thinking that as the game grows, that we're going to have to give greater considerations. And hopefully those considerations won't be something that is so tedious or bogging that we'll actually be excited about, doing all that planning and prepping, and it doesn't become a chore. But I guarantee you it's going to be something that we're going to have to think about in a social community like ours, because we got a show coming up next month called The Cost to Be the Boss. And it's going to talk about, if you're leading something, whether it's an expedition or you're commanding a ship, what you're going to have to think about when you're commanding those ships, because things like death of a spaceman is going to mean something. Because if these three guys, if Dig and Kelosal and Kimmy are on my ship, my decisions affect their gameplay. And if I happen to do something just kind of crazy and out there because my character happens to be very fresh and alive, but Kelosal has already lost 2 legs and 1 arm, and Kimmy is walking around on a crutch.
Now, what the hell, bro?
Right. These guys are going to get mad at me. They're going to be pissed off if they die because of something stupid I did. But that's a role for me as a leader that I'm going to have to think about. Mission. Yeah, I'm going to have to think about things like that. And that's a logistics aspect too. So I'm going to move past this and Dig. Let me hit everybody so we can get ready to close out. Dig, thanks for making it. Glad to have you as always on the show. Let me ask you, if there's any logistics thing that you think is going to be your main concern, what would it be when it comes to gaming in the future?
Ooh, it's very broad.
I know it could be the people's reputation. It could be cost. What do you think is going to be your thing your bottom line that you're going to be concerned about?
What you just said, the bottom line.
Okay.
Because there's all these other associated costs that I think a lot of folks ain't thinking about. And so, I mean, you're going to have to have, if you don't do it yourself, like if you're in the org, you're going to have somebody with them spreadsheets wide open so that your bottom line ain't looking haggard, missing a tooth. So cost, yeah, that's what it is for me, man.
Okay. Kimmy, how about you? What's going to be the thing that you're going to be focused on when it comes to logistics?
Location.
Where you going?
It's going to affect everything that you're going to do in that regard. You're going to look at your routes. You're going to look at where you need to go. You're going to also incorporate, the latest news or what occurred. So if you need to change gears and say, okay, I may need to go a different route. So where do I take this cargo? I need to make an extra jump or two. Because based on what just happened, I need to steer away from that area. But location.
Okay, Kelosal, how about you? What's going to be your main thing you're going to be concerned about?
In the verse dealing with logistics, money.
Okay.
Money. I want to make money, and so I can go ahead and chill out. But once again, take time to plan. Always have a contingency plan. I will gonna have to. I may have to hire Nihilus for my my logistics manager. Automate is have some type of system set up or some type of automated system. I don't. There are websites out there, Griff. If you don't mind me mentioning.
Yeah,
them.
sure. Go ahead.
Like se-trading. Kimberly. They have a good system, and also I guess everybody uses galog.co /trading. A lot of people use that, so those are the type of automated systems that you can use to go ahead and navigate and plug in and plan and figure out how much it costs this and what routes are the good ones. So at least have some type of system set up that you can go ahead and use in the verse. So you won't have to worry about any types of piracies and foolishness going around. And of course, learn from your mistakes. So always good tips to learn about logistics.
Okay, very cool.
I'm trying to hire a green-eyed gal. She looked like she got her finger on the button, man, ready to make all this external stuff happen.
Yeah, she got her finger on the she got the finger on the button, all right, the startup button to take off and leave you behind. Because she said if she runs into any creatures, she's out of there.
I wonder, man, she ain't going in no caves. I hear her on that.
Yeah, for real.
If it was basketball, you would be the point guard.
For real. So let me give you my piece that I'm going to be dealing with, and you got the guys on the show know that I'm a big luxury person when it comes to the game. For me, the way I'm balancing out my logistics for luxury is I have two accounts, and one is what I call my working man, my blue collar account. It's the one that has all my major other ships on, and then I have an account that is strictly luxury ships. The money I make in that main account, guess what happens to a dig? It goes right into that little machine and gets transferred over to the other account, and that's how I fund that account. And so I always have financial resources to support my logistics on that account.
Are you paying yourself dividends? Basically,
that's it, brother. Okay. I take half of whatever I make in that blue collar account goes right into the bank account on the other account. And that's how I keep my luxury ships afloat until we start getting game mechanics that allow us to play the game that way. So, okay, we're going to wrap it up.
Outside of the Endeavor, are they all Origin?
Everything in there is no. The Endeavor's not on that account. Everything in that account is luxury. The only thing that's not luxury in that account is that's not Origin, is the Phoenix. Otherwise, everything else in there is all luxury ships. So everything's luxury. Yep. Okay.
Put your money in a pyro bank account to avoid taxation.
You got it. You already know how that goes. Okay.
NOB.
I know. Yeah. Anyway, we're gonna wrap it up tonight. I want to thank all of our my co-hosts that are with me tonight. They did a great job tonight. I want to thank everybody who donated tonight. Man, Seth, Lefty, all of our buddies from Test that came out, Mad Style always. You guys were just awesome. We really appreciate you guys being here tonight. Shive, I saw you step in as well. Yep. Standard, just all of the folks, and of course all of our friends who've been with us over the past year. Thank you again for our 1 year anniversary last week. Again, we really appreciate what you guys did for us last week. Thank you all for the subscriptions. We have 155 subscribers. I think when we started, we had like 78. Maybe 80. So you guys just jumped our subscriptions up to a stupid number tonight, and we're at 876 followers. Real quick, dig that. Tell people where they can find you. Drop your word, your knowledge right now. Oh, there he is.
My bad. I'm here. I'm sitting here slapping buttons on accident.
That's okay.
Dig that. YouTube.com/digthat32. I ain't hard to find. Come holler at me. I always got a little knowledge to drop on you here and there.
Absolutely. And Dig does some phenomenal instructional videos for Star Citizen. So for those of you all who just want to kind of keep up with the latest, you all check out Dig That's videos. He has high level production quality, which is what drew me to the brother. He just does. He's a shy guy, but trust me, and he's got the voice. So y'all check him out. Y'all look up Dig That's YouTube videos whenever you get a chance. Kimmy, where can people find you?
I'm right here on twitchtv.com under Kimmy65. You'll find me hanging out. Do a lot of the gameplay. And so much glorious 4K frames. Let me tell you, it's so beautiful looking at the game. So come on in and take a look at how beautiful this game is. But also like to talk some lore of the game. I'm really a big time theory crafter, which has a good sensibility of the game mechanics. So come on, hang out with me, chatting and just conversating about the game. It's all good.
Awesome. And
He's hanging out with
Sethius,
the illustrious perps.
yeah, and Sethius, Sethius, I did give a shout out to Test Squadron. I even named you specifically. So thank you guys again, because it was great to have you guys hang out with us tonight. And Kelosal, last but not least, where can people find you?
Yeah, always major shout out to Test Squadron, Best Squadron. We always do that all the time. Good to see you guys on the show. Good to see everybody on the show. Thank you for coming in and supporting us. You'll see me either with Soul Citizens or you just see me hanging out in the verse, mostly with Test. So, look forward to seeing you guys there as the summer starts to come along.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And again, guys, thank you all so much. Don't forget to follow us, like us, follow us on here, subscribe us on YouTube. We're on Instagram. We're on all of that stuff, Twitter. Also, don't forget Friday Night Live is our weekly show that we do on Friday nights where it's a community show where we want you guys to come into our Discord and we get to hear what you guys think about the latest ISC, SCL, or whatever's happening that week in Star Citizen. And you get to talk with us as well. So we appreciate you guys visiting us on Friday nights as well at 11:30 p.m. Eastern. Yes. Thank you, Kimmy. Absolutely. All right, we're going to set up a raid, guys. We're going to go to Comic Stud. This is the first time I've seen him. It says, "Teach me how to Star Citizen," which means that he might be learning the game. So we're going to freak him out with 90 people. He only has 6 viewers right now. So he's going to lose his mind. So let's go ahead and hit him up. Give a shout to him, give him a follow, encourage him if he's brand new into the game. And you guys, listen, have a great weekend. Stay safe. Take care of yourselves. And as always, peace, love, and soul. We will see you guys real soon. You guys take care.
Fly dirty.